Formula One circuit that tries to open up as many overtaking opportunities as it can by having diving corners, slow speed corners, and then we have this great run up towards the start finish line through 13 and 14. Grim 70, early celebrations. Son, you've got 70 more laps to go here, and these are the tyres and the strategies that everybody is running. It looks like it could be the one stop. The two stop though, Tom, certainly not out of the question.
No, definitely not out of question, because we spoke about it earlier on. Carl mentioned it. The tyre offset you can build, the pace offset you can get if you do go for that alternate strategy, means that overtaking is significantly easier to pull off, and that will just create a different dynamic there as the race continues to progress. Terrible qualifying for the two McLarens. Fabio had some extenuating circumstances with some technical difficulties. Good start for the pair of them though, both up a couple of places.
Yeah, an opportunity for both of them to try and drag their way through the field. Of course, we may see a safety car, and more likely to see a safety car here than we probably were in Spa-Francorchamps just 1 week ago. We keep an eye on Lolly Nova, of course, running through this field. Grim 17, one of 3 drivers to have a DNF to their record this season. Of course, got that 2 weeks ago in Jeddah, and did manage to win the race last time out in Spa as well. So that's a bit of a, well, love-hate relationship with Season 12 by the looks of things.
100% all or nothing so far, and currently in the all camp as he leads the way after that blistering start. They were punchy, weren't they, down to turn 1? I think that's just what caught Vince slightly unawares there. Drivers being very punchy. He was just maybe a little bit tentative, thinking about that first pole position. I haven't been in this position before. I don't necessarily know how everybody's going to react. He did get gobbled up, but the crucial thing is he's kept himself very much in the ballpark, and he didn't pick up that damage on the formation lap, which is going to leave Tim at Marlick. Is going to leave Alex Gillen very much exposed. Ben has to throw the defensive jab as Lolly blast past the Aston Martin. Both Ferraris on the move as Ricky trying to dispossess Ben of P4, but the former two-time champ not going to go down without a fight. Gives Ricky the cold shoulder down the inside of 1, and the Ferrari for the time being just going to have to bide his time. Thinks about it into 3, but again, Ben staunching his defence.
Absolutely fantastic defending for Ben. 55% damage on that front wing is what we're being told, but the Italian stallion of Ricky 03, they run through this section of corners in towards turn 4. There's not many of them on this circuit, but you've got to try and make an advantage count at every single one of them. But Ben is one of those wily old foxes when it comes to league racing. He knows he has the opportunity to try and defend. He will push those drivers to the extremities of track limits if he has to. We ride with Tukey here, trying to get the better of Ryan 83, who for one brief moment was up in 11th place, dropped back down to 14th. It's been a rather trampoline race for Ryan 83 so far.
Yeah, something's happened in that midfield, because Razzie 3.3 seconds off the back of that lead group. Look at the gap, Ben's fall back 1.6 seconds. So we are seeing some big breaks in the DRS train. So that is crucial. You don't want to lose touch. It can be quite difficult to bring it back in there. Razzie's got damage as well. Whether that was on the formation lap or not, we don't know. But missing both of his end plates, that car is going to be like a boat to try and handle with. As Gillen is into the pits to fix that damage. I think Razzin following him in as well.
Yeah, as we expected, soft tyres, you can adapt the strategy from this point out for Gillen, but I think the likes of Razin Chai, who I think started on slightly differing tyres, he started on he started on the medium tyres, so he has got to have a little bit more thinking of where this strategy is going to go, because surely Hards will not see this race out at the moment. But Fabio now has been released to try and chase back up to the back of Grid Jokes and try and peel himself back in. We've got yellow flags further back. I think that's Scotty Designs, by the way, having a bit of a whoopsie at the exit of turn 1. That second DRS zone on this circuit, but he had around a lot of wing damage for that Aston Martin.
Big damage. That car's going to be about as graceful as a tap dancing elephant on this circuit with this configuration. That's less than the equivalent of a plank of wood on the front of that car. And for the second week in a row, that's big damage early on for Scotty Designs. May have been a bit of contact. It is a very tricky traction zone out of turn number 1. If you're just a little bit too eager in planting your right foot, you can find yourself having a chat with Barry R on the right-hand side.
Absolutely. It's one of those corners, especially through turn 1, where if you're trying to take an aggressive turn in to get a great opening, if someone sends it down the inside, you quite often find them hitting your rear wheel, and that can also spin you round. So lots of opportunities for carnage, chaos and contusions here at Hungaroring, but all of our drivers still proceeding through, still 20 running, albeit with Gillen and Razin Chai both on the back of each other. Wouldn't be surprised if Scotty Designs, by the way, peels into pit road at the end of this lap as Grim 70 sets the fastest lap of the race so far. He'll have to try and, I was going to say, try and defend Ricky 03, but that surely has to be an interesting technique. He used teleportation. It was not effective.
He did. I wonder if Vince has maybe got some issues here as an Aston Martin of Scotty into the pits. He lost comfortably over a second and a half in the final sector. Now losing out to Ricky. We saw a little bit of desync there going on down the main straight. Former two-time champ continuing to fall backwards trying to take the pain here early on, maybe hoping that we see a safety car. Didn't see one last week though, so send out the missing person pictures for Bernd Mailander, because very, very rare occasion that we don't see him make an appearance in the Creator Series. Divergence though from Ben and from Alex Gillen. Gillen deciding, get shot of that front wing. I want some clean air. I want a fully fixed up car. They're going to just try and see this out for as long as he possibly can.
I think the one you've got to try and keep an eye on here is their last lap times. Maybe over the next 2 or 3 laps, the opportunity for them to see how they compare with the front wing, with the repairs that Gillen and Razin have made, compared to the keeping in the DRS range that Ben has done or decided on as his opportunity in modus operandi for this race so far. But it is 2 Italians in the top 3. Ricky 03 in third. Glory Nova leads this race from Karim 70, who still stands in second. And this was quite interestingly, all 3 of these drivers in the top 3 have had a podium appearance at least once this season so far. Chappers now on the back of the damaged and failing Timo Mardik as they run down towards turn 1. I think we're seeing here how effective those front wing can be as he tries to dive in towards the first corner, that second DRS zone. Internet issues for grid jokes as well, and the run down towards turn 2. Who's going to be brave on the brakes? Chappers around the outside with that extra turn-in ability, and that is where that front wing is going to pay dividends for all of our drivers.
From one to another though, because Ben's going to have his mirrors full with yet another Golf livery Williams car, this time in turn Concept 7, with grid jokes disconnecting. That might give Ben a little bit of respite if that Sauber does fall back. And then 3 seconds to Fabio, who's had a really good opening stage of this race. Qualified 16th, I believe. Now finds himself residing inside the top 10. Been punchy trying to work his way through the traffic. Done a good job of giving himself an opportunity with a bit of clear air to try and just work away at the gap in front now.
He absolutely is. They run at the exit of the second sector. Lap 6 have already nearly been completed. They are a lot of laps here at Hungaroring, but they do seem to flow past rather quickly. Average lap time sitting roughly the 1 minute 20. So Sasso has his usual disconnection from the session, about 20 to 7 this time around. If you want to mark your calendars, if anyone's keeping track and making a lovely flow chart, I wouldn't blame you, because I'd actually be interested to see what the data says.
That's another one gone though. That's quite a lot of disconnects in the opening 6 or 7 laps. Infratic's gone, Grid Jokes has gone. We've seen some little bit of disconnect there and desyncing for Datka Vince as well. So just an interesting one to keep an eye on as the leading duo extend the gap out in front. And Deja Vu down the inside this time for the winners of Concept 7. Ben going to continue to fight it hard, but a bit of wiggle on the exit of turn number 1 puts pay to that attempt at trying to keep 7th place in his grasp as the former 2-time champ, wounded with that front wing damage picked up on the formation lap, continues to tumble through the field.
Heartbreaking radio message there from Safso as well. You can tell his day's gone from slightly bad to... He's managed to recover it though. Let's stand where it stands. He is still 5th place. He's got Chappers and Concept 7 company, but a little bit of a disconnect up towards that guy Vince in front. You know what? I blame Adam. He's the lobby host. Let's just blame Adam Sands and move on with our day, shall we?
Classic. I think that's something we can get behind. Maybe it's a tactic to try and get ahead of his teammate, because there's only 3 seconds now off the back of them with a couple of cars in between them. And Grid Jokes, I'm not sure if he's back in the session yet, so keep an eye on that one. You mentioned a few moments ago, TK, about watch out for Alex Gillen's lap times compared to Tim Hardke. At this stage on those hard tyres, about 1.5 seconds on average quicker than Tim Hardke, because there, Grid Jokes back into the session. But Razin, who put on the soft tyres after starting on the mediums, absolutely rapid at this stage, as you would expect, lapping in the low 19s. Fastest man out on track at the moment. The only issue is he's 35 seconds off the leaders.
It's interesting to see that, as you alluded to, the Timo Mardik slightly quicker, only slightly slower than Alex Gillen with the front wing damage, albeit slightly different in terms of wing levels and everything like that. But Datka Vince here trying to attack Ricky 03 as we watch them ride through the first corner. Can he try and get alongside in towards turn 2? This is a treacherous turn to try and go too wide through round the outside. Goes Datka Vince, pole sitter here of course, and gets the move done. I think that was rather unexpected from both Vince and Ricky, but the Mercedes now has an opportunity to try and run off on towards the distance through that little kink at turn 4 towards 5, 6, 7 and every other corner on this circuit. Ricky 03 has got one challenge in mind, and that is follow.
That was beautiful though. Definitely got his mojo back, Vince, after that little bit of wobble in the opening couple of laps. Big slide from Ryan 83 through turn 1 as he's just emerged from the pits on a brand new set of the hard compound tyres. But yeah, straight out of the textbook that from Vince. Hung it clean around the outside and gets himself back up into P3 that he did hold in the opening couple of laps before Ricky passed him, or passed for the first time I should say, a couple of laps into the race.
You're absolutely right. We still have all 20 drivers running in this race so far. Let us know in the live chat who you think might have had the best start in this race. Let's talk about some of the drivers. Of course, Tuki up from 17th place on the circuit, finds himself running in 10th at the moment. An absolutely storm through the field so far for him. course, just ahead of him, we've got Infratic started 16th. He's climbed up the order as well, so opportunities for both powered cars to try and move their way up the points.
Tuki's quietly gone about his business as well. We spoke about Fabio from 16th up to 9th, make that 10th because his teammate from 17th on the grid is now going to take 9th place off his hands. Hard tyres as well for Tuki, so really not dampened by the struggles in the early stages, trying to get those tyres to fire up, and it's Fabio on the softs, maybe just saying to his team, you know what, you can go now, mate. You've got the better tyres, you've got the grip. I think you can try and make some really good progress here. But for the first time, we've had some incidents in the first 10 or so laps of this race. Let's head over to Clipbook Corner. Carl, what have you got for us?
Well, well, well. The big news of the day. What the hell happened on the formation lap? Well, good question. I'm here to tell you. So, Tim at Marduk, he had a little bit of a split decision on whether to start on softs or not, but he said, screw it, I'm going softs anyway. Watch this, though. He sees his prey to the right-hand side. That's Alex Gillen. Now, Alex has already biffed into Karim 17. I think that's where Alex got damage, but I definitely know this is where Ben got damage. Watch that. That little end piece there. That's Ben's end plate, leaving, well, quite frankly, for a Hungarian party, quite frankly, as Ben going, how on earth have I got damage? 55% damage in an instant. Absolute devastation. Now, this is what we're talking about here. Just how important this race start is. If you get ahead, you get track position. We've seen it with Karim 70 and Lolly. They can run into the distance. Ricky 03 doing a solid, tremendous teamwork by the Ferraris. But Vince gets a decent start. He immediately pulls over to the inside to cover off Karim 70. But he doesn't quite do it enough. If you leave even a car's width, Karim is obviously going to absolutely scythe on through. And so he does. Just enough width for a Formula 1 car. And Karim 70 immediately poaches the lead. But then it's a side-by-side affair with him and Mr. Lolinoba. Vince got sandwiched. Lolinoba able to take that racing line. It was reminiscent in Vince's case to Hamilton in 2023. In this case, Hamilton versus Alonso and Ocon in 2022. Round the outside goes Lolly, courtesy of the sandwich, gets the momentum, and then it is an absolutely sublime side-by-side set of affairs. Through the left-hander, teensy bit of contact with the rear left tyre of the Aston Martin, but so much racing room and respect. But you have the other side of the coin as well. Great racing, rapturous racing, but then you have the front wing damage for not just Tim at Marduk, not just Alex Gillen, but for Razin Chai as well. Devastating circumstances, but this is a long race in Hungary. Anything can happen.
It absolutely can. A long race and an opportunity for all of our drivers. Carl, thank you ever so much for the insights that you give us from behind the scenes. We watch now with Tim at Marduk making his first entry into pit road, hopefully to get that front wing repaired and to get a fresh set of rubbers on that Red Bull racing car. There we go, front wing being replaced. It looks like hard tyres going onto the car of Tim at Marduk, so he will try and run them long. So, of course, no safety cars as of yet, Tom. Drivers may be having to adapt that early strategy if they banked one early on.
100%. They are warmed up, though, courtesy of what happened a week ago when we had no safety cars, so they had to think a little bit more about the fuel strategy. Ben, with relation to Alex Gillen as he emerges from the pits for the first time, that gap is around 10 plus seconds, so that is the time lost for Ben staying out compared to Gillen. Yes, he's got a bit of a tyre offset now to the tune of 7 laps, 12 seconds the gap between the two former sparring partners, current sparring partners to be fair as well. So that's the work that Ben has got to do in the remaining 59 laps to try and get back on level terms with Gillen.
You're absolutely right, and of course that was Scotty Designs. We were watching that Aston Martin just peeling their way through turn 14, just seeing what the offset was between Scotty and Tim at Marduk for their respective damage levels. Of course, if you remember, Scotty was running, let's just say, a rather damaged front wing after his turn 1 scuffles a few laps ago. So we watch here Karim 17 just getting into the mirrors of Lolinoba. No decisive actions yet, but this is maybe more of the psychological games being played from the Aston Martin pilot. He's just eyeing up Lolinoba, just making sure he knows he's there. You see now the other Red Bull dive into pit road. Adam Santon getting off another set of the softs as well. It seems to be that sort of time in the race where they are becoming a little bit useless.
At this stage of the stint, the soft tyres. Fabio, remember, he was with his teammate not that long ago. Now 4.5 seconds between the two McLarens. That's the difference between the hard tyres after 12 laps and the soft tyres after 12 laps. He's losing time at about 1.5 seconds, maybe a little bit more every lap as those soft tyres continue to wane and degrade and degrade. You could just see there, coming over the crest, that was Tiamat Marduk in the background, about 4.5, maybe 3.5 seconds off the back of his teammate and Grid Jokes as they emerge from the pit. So that is where Tiamat Marduk is running. He's in and around that sort of top 10 fight. You'd imagine if Infratic came in this lap, he'd be in and around where the McLaren is.
I'm intrigued here. Grid Jokes is either looking in for a 2-stop strategy, but potentially even for a 3-stop strategy. He's gone soft to soft. So my assumption would be take hards till the end after that next stop. But there is an opportunity for quite literally anything to happen in this race. So don't hold your bets out, because it still could all go a complete other which way. We watch here with Grim 17 once again on the run down towards turn 1. And we are being told from Carl Clipbook Corner that Karim is a lot more confident on the brakes than the Italian that leads. So I wonder if there is going to be that send at some point in this race. Our pole sitter, that guy Vince, still running in fourth quite confidently behind Ricky 03. Was the first time the native man has stood from pole position. Technically, officially, he has claimed pole position before, but never started from there.
100%. And this is a really interesting battle, this dynamic. Lauren Ober and Cream continue to check out away from Ricky, away from Vince, as Fabio's going to lay his soft tyres to rest and strap on a set of the yellow-walled mediums. Cream, we know, is one of the best when it comes to race IQ. He's a very shrewd operator. He's a very canny operator as well. And I think he's very happy knowing that they're jumping away, they're pulling away hand over fist ahead of Ricky, ahead of Vince. He can afford just to sit behind, look after the tyres, look after the fuel critically as well, and give himself a lot of options going into the second half of the race. There is Fabio emerging from pit road, and there is Tiamat Marduk a further second back with the yellow flags flying. There's a Sauber off, and that is Grid Jokes going through 3. I think there's been a bit of contact with Sanderson.
Yeah, I think there certainly have been. Of course, you can see him just managing to get running again. Neither car looking to have any damage at all, so got away lucky. The yellow flag's just flown ever so briefly, but that team radio came at the most fantastic time. Carl, I applaud your timing there. As we saw Tiamat Marduk saying he was trying to hope and undercut Fabio. It didn't work, as we saw Fabio pull out of pit lane just a couple of seconds up the road from the native Aussie, but he still has the opportunity. The tyres might have warmed up for Fabio now, but Tiamat Marduk well and truly within striking distance.
And just going back to Grid Joke's strategy, that's an interesting one as well. Obviously, it's been compromised a little bit because those soft tyres have been given some harsh treatment with that sideways action. But he's obviously not fancying the mediums. That's got to be the strategy. He doesn't think the mediums are a great race tyre. We know on F125 they aren't a particularly consistent and good race tyre. But do we think the softs are that much better? That's the question. He obviously thinks they are. Other drivers thinking maybe not.
I think it seems to be a really 50-50 split amongst this field at the moment. Nobody quite knows which way this is going to go, because a lot of drivers are opting for those medium tyres, but I wonder how much of that is out of habit versus actually doing some research. I know Safso earlier was doing some running, just testing out the setups, testing out the strategies and running how the tyres were feeling, because he's opted for the mediums right at the start. So I wonder if maybe he was just feeling confident on what he's chosen. He's going to run with it, because at the moment it's working for him. We're seeing a resurgence in Safso.
Doing really, really well, especially after that disconnect early on that lost him a couple of seconds. He's managed to cool down, get himself back into a nice rhythm, and keeping himself in and around the fight for a podium. Let's not beat around the bush here. With only 2.5 seconds off the back of Ricky, off the back of Vince, we'll have to think, you would imagine, about Alex Gillen later on in the race. Gillen's pace is not only strong, but it's very consistent as well as he works his way through the traffic. Then there's this big gaggle of cars where Tiamat Marduk is stuck in, and Razin Chai, on those soft tyres that he boxed on after only a couple of laps with the damage, he's really struggling for grip now.
Safso still about 6 tenths of a second quicker than Gillen last time around. We have seen a mood change for those podium positions. That guy Vince just getting the better of Ricky 03's Grid Jokes. Comes across the team radio all the time you have to leave it to space. Great interpretation of the fantastic radio that is well known and well loved within an F125. Brandon Miles has made a position, everybody. He's up to 10th place, just, well, chopping off Super Noodle Bagel for 10th and first in towards the top half of this grid.
That RB looks like an absolute boat on those soft tyres now. Through goes Infratic. That's going to be easy. Could be 3 places lost into turn 1. The 2 Red Bull go through. Tiamat Marduk gives a little bit of a love tap to the rear diffuser of Adam Sanderson. Razin given the opportunity to maybe fight it around the outside. 2 Red Bulls double teaming 1 RB car. And now Ben going to blast past his teammate around the outside of turn 3. Had to try and do that as quickly, as efficiently as he possibly could, with Razin struggling those soft tyres in the way. And he does a good job, and crucially can keep tabs on Fabio in front. And that's the real target. As I say that, Fabio disconnects, and suddenly it's going to be roles reversed. Got to get past the McLaren quickly as well now. Do not want to be caught in the middle sector behind a very slow and unpredictable AI car.
You're absolutely right. That middle sector will be the one that is the slowest traditionally for the AI. They struggle through those slower speed corners. He is back on a dime, but it might be a slight difference. He's able to gain control of that car course. There's a difference between getting back into this lobby and getting control of that car. And at the moment, Timo Marduk, Adam Sands and Razin Chai, every car behind him is feeling the effects. Chappers now falls victim to those effects of internet connection. I'm definitely blaming Adam. I'm calling it.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest option to go for. If in doubt, it must be Adam Sanderson's fault. But I think Fabio is now back in control of that car. He might have a bit of work to do, go down into turn number 1 because he's got the former champion. And remember, former Ferrari teammate all over the back of the Papaya McLaren car, goes to the middle of the circle, but Ben is going to absolutely cruise around the outside with helping Anadiris. That is P15 for the former two-time champion.
It's interesting, you don't traditionally see Timo Marduk running in such a low grid order. Obviously, we are aware of that damage that he got from that opening formation lap, and one that, you know, many would probably argue he should not have got. But it's a very weird sight seeing Timo Marduk down in 15th place. It's like seeing a polar bear in Texas.
Well, he's got an incredible point-scoring record, top 10 point-scoring record. 118 starts in the Creator Series. A big wobble there for Ryan coming through turn 5. But out of 118 starts, Ben has finished in the top 10 on 109 occasions. That's incredible consistency. Alex Gillen, the only driver with a better record, 83 out of 90 starts, I think it is, for Gillen there. So the two big guns in the Creator Series, along with Meraki as well, former two-time champ, reigning champion, got a very good top 10 finishing record. That's what rewards you with those championships. It's not just the bonsai results, it's the consistency.
You're absolutely right, and that's certainly the thing that's proved itself time and time again. Vince and Ricky looking to have a good battle here all the way through the exit of that first corner, down towards turn 2. It's Ricky 03 that still holds that third place spot, but Vince, I think, is knowing what he's trying to battle for. Of course, previous race winner in the Creator Series back in season 11 when Realistic Cars took to reverse Zandvoort. It's the opportunity for all of our drivers to try and get themselves involved here. Super Noodle Bagel dispatching Brandon Miles once again, makes his way up in towards the top 10, being told Chappers needs an invite. Unfortunately, that's nothing we can help with on the broadcast side of things, as Alex Gillen, he's in 12th place, trying to chase down Brandon Miles in 11th, in towards that weird left-hander of turn 4. Brave, very sensible, not send a move down the inside of turn 4 there. We can see that going rather catastrophic, haven't we, Tom?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult here for Gillen to try and make a punch move because of the hash that's in front. He's going to have to be really precise and accurate. Big armful of opposite lock. He takes a little bit too much curve through the 6-7 chicane, but Brandon Miles hands it to him on a plate, courtesy of a bit of a wobble for himself coming out of 8. And that is through goes the two-time champ, former two-time champ Alex Gillen, up into P11. Done a really decent recovery job, I think it's fair to say, after the unfortunate scenario of picking up damage on the formation. That shouldn't be possible, but as it is possible. And now cruising up to the back of Super Noodle Bagel as well, working away on this hard stint very, very nicely indeed.
He certainly is indeed. We're approaching lap 20, which will mark us just under the 1/3 of race distance. Mark us to keep an eye on Alex Gillen now in the back, or still in the back, should I say, of Super Noodle Bagel on the run down towards turn 1. But I think DRS will do its thing, and Alex Gillen, a little sign of respect, I will miss, sir, just getting past Super Noodle Bagel and saying thank you, not necessarily for challenging him too hard tyres that he plonked on just 14 laps ago have started to open up opportunities for Mr. Gillen. Matt 2-on-2 ahead of Chappers F1 as well as they run through turn 4. Both cars just, I think, just playing ball at the moment. They're not wanting to try and get involved in anything too early. They know it's a long race. They know as they run their way through, it's going to be one that is a marathon, not a sprint.
Do we think Chappers is back in the session? That does look fairly reminiscent of an AI driving, as Tim Mark and Fabio both get past Ryan L83. So Ben up to 13th, Fabio up to 14th, working together, you would say at this point, just to try and pick off the traffic one by one. As Lolin over the race leader is the first of the big guns that didn't get damaged early on to blink. Is Kareem staying out? The answer is yes. So there is some divergence there in the strategy. Kareem going to get a bit of an offset, and the two Ferraris are going to do the double stack, and maybe Kareem's been hung out to dry a little bit here because Vince is in, as is Safso as well.
Well, this is interesting. Maybe Karim feels his tyres can go one lap extra. Maybe he's just brave on the overcut here. Who knows which way this is going to go. We can see a double stack potentially from the Ferraris. Of course, Lolly Nova, I think, just managed to get out before Ricky 3 managed to peel his way in towards the pit box. Nothing major that he has to worry about at this moment in time, but just drifts out of turn 1. And that is the sign that those brand new tyres aren't necessarily up to temperature yet.
Big opportunity for somebody here to take a stranglehold of the championship. With Razinchai championship leader, first and second so far this season, running last. He is going to get past Faithful fairly shortly, but pick up a decent haul of points is looking, well, like a bit of a long shot for Razin. Chance for Lolly, chance for Ricky, chance for Ben maybe, but definitely Kareem 70 ad in front, battling away with Lolly to really jump up into the lead of the championship. It would be the first time Lolanoba would lead the championship if you exclude round number 1, where he picked up intermediate pole. So he had 1 point as everybody else had 0.
Well, I think that is good as leading the championship as you could hope for. Many
Well,
drivers
maybe a bit harsh there.
Yeah, many drivers chomping the bit to lead the championship. Many haven't, and probably might not do so for a very long time, because we are only 2 rounds into this season 12 race calendar, and this is the first time as well since season 8 that Alex Gillen has not scored any points. We don't talk about the fact he's been on his honeymoon or something, but he is washed.
He is 100% washed, Alex Gillen, isn't he? Actually only won and finished on the podium 3 times since he won his second championship of Concept 7. Dives into the pits. Day for milestones, though, really, for Alex Gillen. He's the only previous winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix on the second, and he kind of dominated that race back in season 7. Won it by over 13 seconds, so it's a track that he likes. And he's also going for his 30th win in the Creator Series and his 1,500th point.
Wow. Interesting to see if he's able to try and get over his fears. Of course, it's lovely talking about numbers in the Creator Series, because we were discussing this earlier. This is the first time we've raced in Hungary for 560 days. The third ever full race in the Creator Series in Hungary, if we're excluding that weird qualifying session that happened back in season 10. There's only 3 full-time drivers that raced in all 3 races, season 3, 7 and season 12. They being Timo Marduk, Safso and Fabio. A whole host of drivers have raced in Hungary in season 7, so add those 3 onto the likes of Alex Gillen, Adam Sanderson and Lolly Noba, if we're including F2 cars as well. And even our very own Scott Taylor technically raced back in season 7, albeit ending his race with a DNF.
Not ideal at all. As the race leader and season 9 champion into the pits, Kareem 70. Bit of a dice coming through the final couple of corners. Lolanoba getting ahead of Tuki in the McLaren, who is yet to stop so far and has done an excellent job after qualifying down in 17th. Now running in third, and that's at a hard compound tyres. And probably very nice. There is the flash of green, the Aston Martin of Kareem 70, who is going to be a decent whack behind Lolly. Tuki going to fight this down the inside though into turn number 1. Not done with the Italian stallion. He drifts around the outside to maintain his stranglehold on the lead of the race. 5 seconds now the gap between Lolanoba and Kareem 17, who were inseparable in the early stage of the race, but Kareem with a little bit of a tyre offset and some clear air to work into.
You're absolutely right. The more that Tuki and Lolanoba battle, this will only help and aid our resident lean green racing machine of Kareem 70. He's got 2 seconds abreast back to Matt 212. Well, both Mercedes actually, if you include the 6 seconds back to Vince. We watch Chappers here peeling out of pit road. We are being told he is back in, and you can see that there, definitely not AI driving as he exits out of pit road. So lots of chopping and changing in that bottom 7. Drivers, everybody, pretty much back within racing speed. Of course, the top 15 all separated here or there by less than 4 seconds apiece, and then that gap down to Chappers and the rest. Grid Jokes, Razinchai, Scotty Designs, by the way, and Faithful down in 20th.
Still doing a really good job, Alex Gillen. Very consistent at this stage, still pumping in some very decent lap times. Timo Marduk, obviously, with 7 lap fresher hard compound tyres, is taking chunks of time. Remember, when Ben came out of the pits, 13 seconds off the back of Gillen. That's now eroded down to 4 seconds. Is Tuki going to get shot of his hard compound tyres? Maybe slightly earlier than we would have been expecting somebody to get rid of a compound that is definitely the one you want to be using for the majority of this race. So strong, the hard tyres. Is Vince and Ricky going to do battle once again? Silver versus Scarlet. It's going to be Ricky 03 with helping Anadiris that flies past on the run down into turn number 1 as the pole sitter pushed down into P5. With Gillen, Sato and Ben, Fabio 2 not that far back.
Oh, it's a 10-second penalty for Brandon Miles speeding in pit road, and that is going to be one that will haunt him for this race unless we see that all-inclusive safety car that gives him the opportunity to dive in, serve that penalty, and look at, I think, slight frustration on the face of Brandon Miles there. Just not one that he would want to run. But we have to remember, he's still early on in his racing career. A very early appearance, I think only his 3rd appearance in the Creator Series, if not anywhere at all. And you will learn from these mistakes when you time. They are ones that you take on the chin, and you go again next time, and you win it. We have vertical career for the first time in a while.
Yes, we do. We can only see the middle of the screen there. But going back to that mistake, it's a very easy one to do. Yes, when you do it, it's so disappointing. It does feel criminal when you pick up that 10-second penalty, because at the end of the day, it is needless. You don't need to push the limits so hard going into the pit lane, but everybody does it, and it's not something that's just apply to the rookies or the people that are new to the game. We see it constantly with the big guns and the most experienced drivers just getting it a little bit wrong and leaving themselves with a 10-second penalty lingering over their heads.
Well, you're absolutely right. Look at the PSGL PCF1 results from, I believe it was Zandvoort, both Alpine drivers getting penalties for speeding in the pits during the race. It happens to the pros, and you know, I think it's definitely happened to me or you once or twice during when we've raced either competitively online or with friends. It's part and parcel, I think, of F1 racing on these games.
It can be a real sucker punch when you know you're pushing so hard. You're in a really decent position, then you go, oh no, I've completely messed it up, and now I'm going to finish 16th, probably 21st, even though it's not possible in this game. That's how negative it can feel at times. Matt 2-on-2 still yet to stop on his hard compound tyres. Just been dispossessed to P3 and 4 as Ricky and Dakovic cruise through. Sapso also jumping ahead of Alex Gillen. Remember, Gillen pitted on that too, I think it was, to fix his front wing damage that he picked up on the formation lap. Still running nicely in P7, but can try and get dragged on by Sapso, though I think with the RB only on 4-lap tyres, 4-lap old medium compound tyres, hard compound tyres, I should say, the Sapso might just be cruising off into the distance.
I'm interested here as well. If you were talking about tyres and what everybody has run their way through, obviously we haven't yet seen Matt 2-on-2 pit. We haven't seen Super Noodle Bagel pit yet. He's done 22 laps on medium tyres. That is both impressive and slightly concerning for what strategy he's planning on running here.
They are going to be feeling second hand. I can tell you that one for free. But he's trying to extend it as far as he can to make sure he can guarantee that he gets that one stop to go. Tuki, remember, only did 22 laps on his set of hard compound tyres. We thought they would go considerably further than that. So an interesting one there to see how the different tyre compounds work for the different drivers. An interesting look into the driving style and the aggression, let's say, on the front axle in particular for a lot of the drivers on the field.
So here we go, then Super Noodle Bagel is into pit road. P14 where he currently stands. We'll see where he exits out, probably roughly down the order. Sapso gets the better of Matt 2-1-2 as well, slightly further upfield, up to 5th place, just trying to hold his own as Tuki in Concept 7. Made a good scrap between the two of them. We watch here Super Noodle Bagel on the bottom right-hand side of your screens, making his way out of pit road. He'll rejoin almost certainly in 18th place. Scotty Zines off the back of the pack here. Still 6 or 7 seconds here off the back of Super Noodle Bagel. Still an opportunity to try and run through.
100%. It'll be interesting as well when we look at some of the drivers that did find themselves compromised with front wing damage, Scotty being one, Ben and Alex, Razin as well, who's already made a couple of stops in this race. When do they bite the bullet again and go to the end of the race? You would imagine a lot of drivers in front will be trying to take these hard tyres as far as they possibly can. Ricky has locked himself into a 2-stop strategy, that's for definite. He's gone medium, so won't have any yellow struck tyres left, which could be interesting if we get a late race safety car, because the soft tyres, yes, they'll be very quick, but they will burn up so quickly, especially on low fuel.
You're absolutely right. The longest anybody has taken a set of soft tyres so far is 14 laps. The only driver, I believe, that won't have guaranteed a fresh set of soft tyres will be the likes of Grid Jokes. He's done soft, now hard tyres for his stint, so will not have that option even if he went for the softer tyre allocation. We watch Matt 2-1-2 now trying to chase Alex Gillen as those two swap positions. Still with Sapso in 5th. The battle here is allowing Sapso to try and pull his way forwards. 1.6 seconds advantage in his favour. Now to try and claim some time. Back to Dakovic up in 4th, who is still on the back of Ricky 03, but Crim 70 has lost some time to Lolly Nova. 4 seconds, in fact, leading the Italian stallion out in front.
Yeah, it's just swaying to and fro between Lolly and Cream. Cream takes a little bit of time out of Lolly. Lolly then takes that time back the very next lap. Just trading blows, trading jabs at this stage of the stint. Still an awful long way to go. 10 laps away from even getting to half distance. So Cream 17 won't be too perturbed by the gap that has opened up with the undercut to the tune of 2 laps that Lolly Nova has over the Aston Martin former champion. So still a long way to go. Still a lot more punches and jabs to be pulled.
You're absolutely right. The options are still there for all of our drivers to try and maybe make an impact. We've still got over half this race to go, which feels somewhat unbelievable. Maybe I've seen why we haven't done this race for 560 days, and who knows, we might not see you next here until 2027. But at the moment, all of our drivers are still trying to score points. All of them are still trying to run their way through. And I'll tell you what we can do. We can go have a chat with someone else, Tom. Mr. Carl Paranik is on the sidelines. He's got his ear to the ground, which I have warned him is very close where these F1 tyres run. Carl, what have you got for us?
I've never learned, unfortunately, but here I am. Lap number 20, I'm going to start with. A few things have happened during this race, mainly just expert racecraft and expert use of that instinct from a lot of our drivers, one of which is Fabio. So Ben manufactures the move here. So you've got Super Noodle Bagel just up ahead. Ben was kind of caught in two minds about making this move, but again, reputation at work, goes for that move. Noodle leaves the space, through goes the Red Bull, but the compromise in momentum means Fabio goes for that tighter line. There's a slight snap for the Haas car, through goes the McLaren, and Fabio says it himself. He confesses, I'm hardly doing any of the work, I'm just going to let Ben do the work for me. Work smarter, not harder. Very smart from the McLaren driver. But outside of the Papaya Pro, well, something that will bring our presenter Scott Taylor quite a lot of joy. And that was moving back in time to lap number 13. Adam Sanderson, he's going for a move on Rasin Chai. Am I seeing that right? Well, soft tyres versus hard compound tyres might well be the reason why, but Adam slightly caught in a bit of a confounding situation on the curb on the inside. All kinds of compromised momentum, and Grid Jokes looks for the move. Adam Sanderson sees the proximity arrow, but at that point, a little bit of a passenger from his angle. We go to Grid Jokes' perspective, though, and the story might look a little bit different. We'll soon shall find out together. So, Sanderson compromised on that curb as we see a neat little move. McLaren trying to go round the outside of a Mercedes. That's an immaculate little move. Hold on a second, showstopper there between the Mercedes and the McLaren. Regardless of that, back to Grid Jokes, ladies and gentlemen. So, just watch about how much he sends the car up the inside, gets to the braking zone, looks to try and send it, and I'm kind of caught in two minds here, particularly at this corner, which I think is turn 3. Corner names are weird nowadays. But he does have the front wheel alongside the rear wheel, but I feel like you have to kind of send it more to warrant the space at a corner like that, where the braking zone is so short, where you have that turn in almost instantaneously after you apply that slowdown phase. So, a bit in two minds. I personally think racing incident. Interested to hear what you all think, though. We'll see how the hard tyre runners are doing, though, because apparently the hards, no real surprise, are absolutely broken.
Wow, interesting stuff, Carl, and thank you ever so much. And interesting just to mirror your comment on the hard tyres. Oh, as we see a drift there from Adam Sanderson through turn 13 there. We do see an interesting one that makes its way. P12, as it stands, Tukey on the back of Matt 212, getting their way past. But one thing I did just want to say here quickly, Tom, obviously last time we raced here in Season 7, hard tyres were banned in the Creator Series, if you can remember that long ago.
They were. So that was a very interesting dynamic when the soft tyres still wouldn't have been particularly good. The medium tyres would have been absolutely king. But yeah, we're now seeing maybe why the hard tyres at certain stages were banned around circuits like this. They are so strong and so consistent and reliable. Such a nice tyre to drive. Interesting with Adam Sanderson, I think there might be a clip there for Carl to try and pick up, because he was in a bit of Noah's Ark action between Tim Murdoch in Fratic, then Adam Sanderson and Tukey as the Red Bulls and the McLarens were working their way through the pack. Now over 7 seconds off the back, and we saw him having that drift through the penultimate corner. I don't think that's the only whoopsie that Adam had that lap.
I don't think it certainly was, and one that we will probably try and get Mr. Paranik to use his investigatory skills to find out for us as well as we run through turn 14 on board with Ricky 03. Still on the back of that guy, Finn's approaching lap 30 of 70, nearly halfway through, everybody. And some of the people in the Twitch chat already aiming for someone to spice this race up. And I'll tell you what, Ricky 03 wants that podium position back. Those medium tyres starting to fire up for himself here. Concept 7 on the back of Matt 212 here on the run down towards the first corner. Both of them on hard tyres. It's an interesting challenge to try and get that move done. Gets the move done indeed. And Matt 212 still yet to pit here, Tom. 28 laps so far. 28 tours of the circuit on the same set of tyres.
In a class of 1 at the moment, the only driver yet to make a stop thus far, as we are still only just approaching half distance. Still a few laps to go before we get to 35. It's almost like we need an unsafety car at this point. If you know, you very well know. But Kareem 7T was a little bit quicker than Lolanoba on the last lap, but taking half a second so far out of the Italian stallion on this lap so far. So maybe just starting to stretch his legs, or on the contrary, maybe a bit of a whoop seat for Lolly in the opening stages of this lap. Maybe just a bit of a tail wag and just trying to get the rear tyres under control again from a temperature standpoint.
Wonder at what point of this race we're going to start to see Karim maybe try and make that upwards charge towards the likes of Lolly Nova. Last time around, he was 0.2 quicker than the Italian stallion. As we look at what he was this time around, a very similar story. Last lap in the 19.5s for Krim 17 versus the 19.7s for Lolly Nova. So not much between our two drivers, but enough just to slowly make inroads after what is still 40 laps to go here in this Grand Prix. And that guy Vince still hugged to the back of that Scuderia Ferrari to watch Tuki now getting past his teammate of Fabio, whose internet is probably letting him down worse than he would have liked here in Hungary.
Tuki does have 9 lap fresher tyres, that's what we have to say. And both McLaren still doing a very good job. And Tuki, of course, rocking the award for the biggest crash in Season 11. A crash so bad, it caused another driver not just to crash out, but crash out in-game and crash out outside the game as well, because we haven't seen him since.
We have not, unfortunately. The only time someone was late to their own party, unfortunately. But it was Tuki that was up there. You can remember back to the season start in Baku. It was a massive crash, I must say the least. It was completely accidental, nothing intentional, we will put it that way. But Tuki up to 8th place after what is a fantastic drive so far. Started 17th on this grid here today, so he's up for 9 positions so far. I don't think there's any stopping him yet.
No, and it's really interesting when you look at the gaps that are starting to form. You've got the leading duo who are very much in a class of their own. 16 seconds a gap between the two Ferraris, Cream 3 seconds off the back of Lolly. Then you've got that secondary chasing group with the divergence of strategies. Team at Marduk, by the way, cruised up to the back of Alex Gillen with the 2 Papaya and Chrome McLarens in hot pursuit as well. Concept 7 not too far away on 7-lap fresher hard compound tyres compared to Fabio, whose mediums will be being a little bit substandard at this stage, 17 laps on them. But this could get interesting as Vince takes 3rd place back. Gillen, Ben, Tuki, the McLaren has the best tyres of all of them. This could get spicy.
It's interesting, Ben coming over the radio saying, tell Alex not to let Tuki through. Alex has no intention of letting that McLaren through, but the McLaren goes through nonetheless. The second helping of DRS down towards the first corner is helping and aiding Tuki, and he gets past the Alpine of Alex Gillen. Quite literally the opposite of what Team at Marduk wanted to happen here this afternoon. And Tuki, I think, has got his eye sets on the Australian as well as they run in towards turn 4, hugging the rear of that gearbox on the Rebel racing car that stands in front of him through the long right-hander of turn 5. Tuki is in a good opportunity here. Of course, fresher tyres, his mediums, only 9 laps old.
Even if you're not watching Ben's stream, I think all of us have the imagery in his head of what he's just said as Gillen has let Tuki through without putting up too much of a fight there. But to be fair, he couldn't really put up much of a fight anyway. 27 laps on his hard compound tyres. Tuki just 9 on his mediums. Gillen is really strong. You can see there he was very, very wide coming through turn 10. Now with Fabio for company as well. So as much as Ben would have been hoping that the 2-time champ could have kept that McLaren at bay, I don't think there was too much necessarily Gillen could have done.
I'll tell you what, I know Carl was watching Ben here, so I just want to bring him in for voice only for a brief minute. Carl, without swearing, what was Ben saying?
Well, quite frankly, it's stuff that I can't repeat on air because I'm a professional, but Tuki's going down the inside, ladies and gentlemen. We all saw this one coming. Ben's just not happy, essentially, as he tries to go for the switchback, but my God, Tuki. All right, turn on the afterburners. Don't need a little bit of a showboat as well for good measure, but Ben's not happy because he's saying that Tuki will gain like 5 or 10 seconds maybe, and they'll have to gain it back during the rest of this race. I'm not entirely sure. I think the hards do come into their own not too far from this period now, so give it a few laps. Ben might not be feeling that world of pain. In the instant though, in the heat of the moment, not a happy guy. Was really hoping Alex could have done him at least one favour and try and hold the McLaren back.
Absolutely, Carl, thank you so much. Pleasure to hear what is going on behind the scenes, especially with our driver's motion. Chappers once again, just having a few connection issues here this afternoon. Nothing that he necessarily needs to worry about too much, but I echo Team Marduk's sentiments here that Tuki on those fresher medium tyres, of course, where the DRS zones here in Hungary, Tom, are so bunched together. Of course, we've got the run down towards the first corner and the run down towards the second corner. They are the only sections of this circuit you can get that rear wing open. If Tuki finds a lot of pace through the second and third sectors, he can run away and be out of DRS in just a singular lap, essentially.
It was a crucial move. What we should bear in mind is the fact that those medium tyres are definitely not brand new. Just completed his 11th lap on them, Tuki. So we are going to be getting to the stage, maybe 50% of the way there, where they will be just starting to fall off a cliff ever so slightly. So Ben and Gillen to a certain extent as well just need to try and play a bit of the long game here. They might equalise out the tyre wear because 10-lap older tyres compared to Team at Marduk are a little bit more compared to Alex Gillen. The yellow flag's out. I think a Williams. No, it's Chapper. Yes, it is Chappers. Facing the wrong way out of turn 12. Those soft tyres that he's only been on for 11 laps so far, probably a little bit past their best.
Yeah, not the way you like to see this race go. You can see Scottish Designers just coming through turn 13 as well, we're being told. And, well, just wait to pinch yourself. So Ben is not negative on fuel. Scotty claimed the fastest lap last week, of course, in Spa-Francorchamps. It's only the second time in his career that he's claimed that accolade, and one that is, well, would have been a bonus point if he did finish him in the top 15, so.
Which he did not, unfortunately enough, for Scotty there, and hasn't got too many top 10 finishes, let alone top 15 finishes in his career. I think just a couple of top 10 finishes for Scotty Designs, by the way, but we all know the pace he's got. Has put in some sterling qualifying laps over the season, that he has been a full-time driver in the Creator Series. Crucially, further forward, Tukey has managed to get Ben out of the 1 second window, so it's now going to be down all to Ben's Lonesome to try and keep that McLaren in check. They're not too far away from Safso, to be fair, in front, just 4.5 seconds further up the road. So we could have a situation where a lot of these drivers behind the top 4 do start converging on each other later on, as Fabio drops behind the lead Williams of Concept 7.
You're absolutely right. Ryan L83 then, 14th place at the moment. Grid Jokes just behind him. The DRS will favour that kick Sauber down towards the first corner. And I think quite an easy move made there for Grid Jokes. Ryan L83 not fussed about trying to fight that one. The difference in tyres not necessarily the strongest. 15 laps for Grid Jokes, 26 lap on hard tyres for Ryan L83. Alex Gillen making his way through the middle sector, essentially, just off the back of Timo Marduk. Still, Tukey has broken that DRS scrutiny 1.5 seconds up the road, and this is exactly what Ben did not want to happen. We are seeing Lolly Nova. If we just check in with our race leader, 2.5 seconds clear of Karim 70. Of course, he got into pole, but everything else seems to have gone everyone else's way this season so far.
Yeah, Karim, 1/4 second quicker on the previous lap. Levelled out, it was actually Lolly quicker by the tune of 6 milliseconds on lap 34. So still just chopping and changing ever so slightly, but we are seeing that gap start to erode. Lap by lap, Karim just eking his way closer to the Italian stallion as Vince, Ricky and et al. Behind continue to fall further and further away from our runaway duo out in front.
You're absolutely right. And as we reach the halfway point of this race, I'll tell you what, there's many hills here, none of them being Mason Hill, but I can tell you who knows something about being against the wall. Scott Taylor, why don't we throw to you? Or say that Tolan Chappers has just retired. Safety car is out on track, everybody. We are 35 laps, exactly halfway through. And Chappers and Bert Mylander grace us with their presence. But as these pit stops happen, Scott, we'll continue to throw to you.
Yes, and oh my god, am I the only person that's so happy to see this safety car? Let's go! Okay, now we are coming back in. Now, while this is happening, we might have some clips in a second. Before then, what I'll do is a quick recap of what happened. In case you came in halfway through the race, we started with quite a weird issue where Ben and Gillen got damaged during the formation lap, and then obviously that it got to the start of the race, then they got damaged, everyone had damage, and we've been basically waiting for this safety car to come so we can get the field back together. So loving to see that. Sanderson's had 2 incidents and they were both his fault. That's happened. Hard tyres are the way to go for the race. No surprise there. And I have been manifesting a safety car, and I'm so happy that it's here, guys, so we can relax. We're going to see a banging race after this. But you know who have just been incredible? Lolly, Nova and Kareem. To be fair, you've got to give it to them. They've been absolutely sending that. They're looking dead set for first and second. I'm excited to see it. But Vince still in there in 3rd place. But now anything can happen with that safety car. So buzzing to see it. Carl, you've been watching along with more point of views than me. How are you feeling? That was a bit of a slow burner, but I feel like we're going to get quite spicy now.
I think we are as well, honestly. I mean, we've seen all kinds of inversions on the strategy. There's been 2 classes of the field, really. I mean, it's the front 2. No real surprise. Lolly and Karim have been in a completely unparalleled realm compared to everybody else. Of course, the heavy hitters like Alex Gill and Tim Marduk, they've had front wing damage on the formation lap, which I've never heard of. No secret, I am a glorified sweat on this game. But even I've never heard of that happening in this game. So quite unbelievable luck for those guys. They get to go back into this race though. It's all neutralized. They can put the gremlins of the past behind them. Any particular qualms they would have had in tyre talk in the case of Benjamin Daly now can be put to rest. They are back in this race, and I think now it becomes very, very interesting. Credit where credit is due to a few drivers while I'm here. Firstly, front 2 completely have outclassed everybody so far as we pass the fulcrum point of this race. Safso's gone quite under the radar, but I think he's had a great run at things. He's been a bit low-key, but he's only burdened for glorious purpose, so well done to you, Safso. And then Tukey as well, gone quite under the radar in that McLaren, in a good position in P7. So good, feel-good stories up and down the field, I think.
All I'm saying is we've got Alex Gillen, Fratig, Ben Daly, Matt 212, and Sanderson. We're all next to each other in a safety car restart. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, you know one person's going to be spinning come the start of a safety car. I'm going to say it's going to be poor Matt because he's the sort, I would say, the gentlest of that 5 there, and obviously he'll be the one, like me usually, that just gets done for being too nice. I am buzzing for this, Carl. We are going to have such a good race, and it's also quite good for some of the guys at the back. They've had connection issues. It's been a little bit of an issue this race, and there's nothing worse than having connection issues in a race without a safety car. You have that opportunity now. It's a reset. Tyres are done. I feel like Gillen had those hard tyres for like 30 laps. Is that right, Carl?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, according to the telemetry, Alex Gillen had his hard compound tyres on for a grand total of 32 laps, and they were only just past 50% wear. The worst one of all. So the hard tyres, really made of stern stuff here. A completely broken tyre. And, well, the proof is in the pudding. Pretty much everybody has stayed on the hard tyres. There's one slight, well, we'll call it an obstacle. And that's Concept 7. He stayed out on 17-lap-old hards. So he's going to be a little bit of a bottleneck.
Of course he did. Now, if I hear it right, you've got some clips for us as well that will take us right nicely into the start of this safety car. Carl, whenever you're ready, let's please bring it away.
Absolutely. Well, Scott, I'm going to make you very delighted indeed, because we have... Look at his little laugh, honestly. Adam Sanderson, ladies and gentlemen, Tukey was making his way through the field, as you can see, just holding it down the inside, of course, on those new medium compound tyres. Adam, of course, wants to help out his teammate as much as possible. So, we're looking at this corner again. It's the same corner, which is why Matt 212, I don't think is that bad of a shout, Scott Taylor, because Adam Sanderson has now been in the wars twice at the same corner during this race. This is the one Tom Wilkinson and co were waiting for. So, they make their way towards the sweeping left-hander, and we're just going to watch Adam Sanderson. So, it's a complete contrast. He is fully alongside on this occasion. It's not a case of, oh, it might be a bit circumspect. He is definitely alongside. Make no mistake about that. So, we play this on through, and Adam, just ever so slightly, if you watch his trajectory, drifts ever so slightly wide of the apex. There it is, ever so slightly wide, and as soon as you make contact with the side pod into the rear left, it's a foregone conclusion. Absolutely swept round. I think Tukey left ample space. I don't think he squeezed too much. Nothing really he could have done. Equally, nothing really Adam could have done. So just another extremely unfortunate incident. And then we get to probably the reason why Chappers is now out of this race. Not the incident in question, but what happened before it. We saw the Williams backwards, which makes me very upset. But towards the right-hander we go. He's just resetting in. And what you'll see here, if we look at his telemetry, is he has just held the throttle on full. Whether he thought it was going to be reset in an advantageous position, unfortunately, it did not happen. So through the right-hander, immediate pirouette. It is, well, it's a ballroom blitz and it's a 10 out of 10 from Craig. But for Chappers, it is complete chaos. And unfortunately, our first DNF of the race. But how exciting. The field is neutralised and we're going to have some fun out there.
Yes, we are. It's so good to see. Sad to see he was at both sides of the situation, and obviously he's the one that unfortunately comes out of worse. We all know we just joke with Adam. He's a lovely guy, but unfortunate to see. Whoa, okay, guys. Now this safety car is probably close to coming, and our beautiful voices. They've been doing incredible throughout this whole race. They've got another 30-odd laps to take it away. TK and Tom, have some fun. We'll be back soon.
Thank you very much, you two. Pleasure to hear from you as we get ready to go racing. It will be just over 30 laps for the sprint until the end. And Tom, I think you put this in our little text chat there. Disgraceful impartiality shown from Mr. Baranek there.
For somebody with so much integrity, all of that's just gone down the drain. Carl Baranek, I cannot believe that. But I think this is going to be a really interesting second half of the race because a lot of drivers now on an equal footing. But we have got the divergence, like Carl said. Concept 7 staying out. Interesting decision. 19 laps on his hard compound tyres. Add another 30 to that, and he's going to be almost running on the rim, you would say, by the time we get to lap 70. If, of course, the tyres get to lap 70. And then you've got Tukey, who clearly was caught out by selecting the balanced strategy, as Brad Marl has clearly gone to relieve himself during the safety car period. But Tukey has to chuck on another set of mediums, basically, because he didn't select 2 sets of hard compound tyres. Now, the mediums haven't looked particularly great, let's be honest. They haven't looked like a great tyre. They worked nicely for him to get him up the order, but can he try and stretch these 30 laps maybe to the end of the race if we don't see another safety car? Feels like a tall order.
I think you're absolutely right. Either Brandon's gone to the loo or he's discovered invisibility and yet to tell us. I'm sure
Or he's just had enough.
Or that is completely a possibility there. Lolly Nova, something about pineapple belongs on pizza. I'm sure the Italians in the chat can confirm or tonight. I saw pineapple and I saw pizza. That's as far as my Italian knowledge goes. But we are mere moments away from getting ready to go racing. Everybody is back in the pack. Faithful as well. And there we go, race control. Give us that message, and 2 more corners, well, 3 more corners to navigate. But Mylander, on his first appearance here, in over, was it 75 laps or so? It's been a while since we've seen him. Obviously didn't see him at all in Spa-Francorchamps, and we do see him now as he peels back into pit road. Lolly Nova will control the race restart. Interesting here that mediums and or hards could, in theory, take it till the end. A real mix of tyres. We've got everybody on hards, fast-lane drivers, they being Tukey Scotty Designs, by the way, and Faithful HD. The Italian stallion himself launches it round the final corner, turn 14, and we go green flag racing here in Hungary to start off lap 40, 31 laps, sprinting till the end.
Look for the box office battles. First on the list is Safso. Thought about it just for a moment down the inside of Concept. And remember, he is on much older tyres, 15 lap older tyres compared to his rivals around. You can see the grip difference that the Season 1 champ has got. A non-contest on the exit of turn 1. Does Williams keep his foot in it down the inside? He did. Tukey was right in the thick of the battle as well. Don't know who that is who's jumped in the session, but there's no space left in the card. You can't jump into Chapper's already retired Williams. Tim Mark and Alex Gillen. It's going to be interesting to see how punchy they want to be on this restart. How quickly can they try and work their way through the drivers? Maybe try and get up towards the podium places, as Tukey was very, very close to giving a little bit of a love tap to the Williams into 5.
Crossover between these medium and hard tyres, looking around 8 laps or so, maybe take in roughly around 7 or 8 laps, well, probably 3 laps under the safety car. We're going to roughly look at that sort of delta. We expect them only to go about 5 laps or 5 or 6 laps here under full race conditions, and that is going to be the benefit that Tukey will have probably until lap 45, and he has to make the work for him in the opening stages of this safety car restart. Concept 7 in front, 2 tenths, looking to try and make a move into 13, can't quite get the better of it this time around, but DRS will be enabled at the end of this lap, and the detection point comes after that start-finish straight, so they will have it next time around.
I fear for the future of Concept 7. I have to say, going to get bumped down into 7th place. Could be quite a difficult second half of the race for the Gulf liveried Williams. The only Williams remaining as Tukey dives down the inside. That's going to be very straightforward. Now you've got 2 former 2-time champions to deal with. Tim McMahon drives like the Williams, like he's not even there. That is 7th place handed to the Australian ace on a plate. And Gillen down the inside into 3 we go as well. Doesn't understeer like Adam Sanderson did. That is picture book perfect. And 3 places lost for the Williams in sector 1 of this lap already.
It absolutely is. Everybody starting to file their way through here. Fabio trying to make a move here. Concept 7 goes wide of the exit turn 4, round the outside. Goes the Portuguese native, trying to get the better. That is outstanding from Fabio. Made the advantage work where it presented itself, and a simple mistake capitalised on. Almost immediately, he's up to 9th.
Had to be on the button there. Needed to keep tabs on Tim Mark, keep Alex Gillen as well at arm's length in front. And that is what he did. Clinical move from the McLaren man. The Portuguese powerhouse up into the top 9 now. As you can see, there's a Haas there, a Super Noodle Bagel all over the show through the twisty middle sector. Scotty Designs helping himself. Buffet driving there as he's up into P16.
Room 17 comes across team radio. If I'm going to beat Lolly Nova, it has to be an absolute dive bomb. Well, keep your eyes here. Get your popcorn ready, because this, folks, is going to be cinema. Karim sets the fastest lap of the race so far, immediately stolen away from him by Tukey in 18.1, going the way of that McLaren down in 6th place at the moment. He has used those medium tyres, work for him so far, and the sun is starting to set here in Hungary. We watch Razin Chai going toe-to-toe with Adam Sanderson, the better exit from the V-Cup. Little love tap to the rear, though, on the run down towards the 3rd corner. We see it starting to get a little bit hazy here as we watch Matt 212 down the inside of Concept 7, who seems to be falling down the order to 11th place. I wonder if there's a little bit of knock to the confidence here, or trying to recharge that battery through the kink of turn 4. Trying to hold off now Adam Sanderson, who poses an attack, looks to try and go late on the brakes. I think they were a little bit scared, but Concept 7 just braked ever so slightly earlier than he anticipated.
you might be looking at map 2 or 2 as Adam Sanderson, big wobble over the curve. I don't think Razin, championship leader, remember, coming into this is too close to make a move into turn 8. You think map 2 on 2, now inside the top 10, looking really, really good. He has locked himself. In fact, he's put all of his eggs in the 2-stop safety car basket because he's gone hard. Still has to use another tyre compact unless it rains, which, let's be honest, that's looking pretty unlikely as Will KQ69 finally gets out of the session. Adam Sanderson down the inside, could be sideways again, bit of contact, bit of a bump and run between himself and the Ailing Williams. Razin Chai trying to get through as well, Season 5 champion. Wasn't the space that presents itself, but surely going to understeer wide on those Ailing hard tyres. You have to commend Concept 7 for rolling the dice. Started the restart in P5, probably going to be P15 by the end of this lap. Let's be honest, Darking over to the inside because Razin was there. Chips off a bit of his front wing. Adam Sanderson, an innocent bystander on the outside. And once again, second time of the race, championship leader has big damage.
Yeah, you can tell that the thought was there, wasn't it? Trying to hold track position for Concept 7. Those 22 lap-old hard tyres, not necessarily the best of choice now. Razin Chai has damage. Grid jokes as well. Up to 12th place, dispatches that Williams trying to chase down the ailing Razin Chai, who has had, I think, a race to forget at the moment as they progress through this second sector. And I wonder how much this V-Cup is going to lose. We saw similar results from those that got damage on the formation lap and just how much they struggled in this second sector because it is all about downforce. A lot of the drivers running incredibly high wing setups. It is so traditionally Monaco, just with walls slightly further afield.
Hurt your tyre wear significantly as well. Boatload of understeer. You're going to be working those front tyres even hard to get it rotated through the high-speed corners. You can see Scotty Designs running wide there through turn 11, and Razin going to be under the microscope with that limited front downforce. Once again, though, same old story out in front. Top 2 checking out again, much quicker than everybody else. Nearly 3 seconds the gap between Kareem and that guy Vince. This, as things stand, is just going to be an exclusive battle between these two.
Two-horse race, I think, never has had more of a moral implication than it does now. Crim 70, half a second off the back of Lottie Nova, as we see Grid Jokes there, sending it down the inside of the ailed Razin Chai towards the first corner. The double dose of DRS will almost certainly help him on the run down towards turn 2. The outside line favoured by the Kicksauber. Gets the move done at the second time of asking. Razin Chai will have to try and go potentially for an attack or switch his mind to, well, damage limitation essentially from this Grand Prix. But Adam Sanderson now on the back of Concept 7 as well, through that little kink of turn 4 wide. Again goes Concept 7, and it's Adam Sanderson that couldn't replicate what we saw from Fabio many laps ago. There's a massive difference in these tyres. It's 24 laps for Concept, 8 lap-old tyres for Adam Sanderson at the moment, and you can see just how much that Williams is struggling to get the traction down.
Fighting with one hand tied behind his back here. Significantly older tyres, absolutely no grip, no confidence as well, just because he's been tumbling through the field. That is a hammer blow, a sucker punch to the solar plexus for Concept 7, who has been so impressive this season. Just rolled the dice, landed on the wrong number, it has to be said, made the wrong strategy call, commendable for going for it, but I think it's going to result in a fairly, well, pretty much nil quarter, you'd imagine, at this stage, with everybody queued up behind him trying to take a chunk out of the Williams.
You're absolutely right. Unless we see another safety car, that is still completely possible. Of course, they are, well, I would say normally, quite often and quite frequent in the Creator Series. Always Concept 7 lose not 1 but 2 positions on the run down towards the first corner. Ryan L83 and Adam Sanderson, 2 of the recipients of those bonus positions. They find themselves 13th and 14th respectively. And this time of asking Scotty Designs, by the way, now on the rear of Concept 7, looking for a move in towards turn 2. You don't normally try and go for one there, but the Aston Martin absolutely sent it. He's now side by side through the kink in turn 3. The Aston Martin gets that move done. Scotty Designs, ladies and gentlemen, he's in the points at the moment.
Could maybe count his lucky stars. That wasn't too dissimilar to the little bit of contact that left Adam Sanderson pointing in the wrong direction. Just understeered slightly wide of the apex of 3, ran into the side pod, and more often than not, as we've seen already in this race, that little bit of contact does send the car on the inside sideways. So Scotty does make his way through, did a decent job to make sure he didn't loop it round lazy and drop back out of the top 15, and can now try and charge after the group in front, with Ryan Lady 3, the birthday boy, currently with a penalty looming over his head.
A bee swarm of Scottish bees intensifies for Scotty Designs, by the way. Unfortunately, Dan Gilligan on the stream this week, which would have been rather apt because he was the one that originally came up with that back in Imola a couple of seasons ago. If you know, Karim 17, look at that. He is challenging for the race lead in towards the first corner. That Aston Martin has the DRS. We saw one Aston Martin get a move made in turn 2. Are we going to see a second on a second similar lap? Lottie Nova hugs what he can do. That inside line through turn 2. Karim has the nose chopped off as they head through turn 3. The Italian Sally not playing ball here. If you have a retirement in the pit lane, that is Concept 7 as he falls off the grid. But keep an eye on Karim 17 now, trying to go through turn 5. He's got to try and retake this lead. And we saw where he's effective. We saw the straight line speed that Aston Martin has, but he doesn't quite have it through the corners.
I was wincing there. That was brave from Lolly into turn 3. Chucked it back up the inside, throwing caution to the wind. Karim, he knows every time he gets an opportunity, even the smallest of opportunities, he's got to go for it because he doesn't know how many opportunities will actually present themselves. He went for it then. Lolly was very robust in his defence, I should say, of the lead of the race. Round 1 going to the red corner. We'll see what Karim has got in the subsequent laps.
You're absolutely right. We are close to getting in towards that final, essentially, sprint element of this race. 46 of 70 gone, 24 to go as we come around this corner for one additional time. Team and Marduk on the back of Tukey, 6th and 7th respectively for both our drivers. We are at the point now where those medium tyres are going to be ailing compared to the hard tyres that everybody else has on around them. Concept 7 leaves the session, dive down the inside from the Australian sensation, but that is a switchback for beauty from Tukey as they run down towards turn 2. That McLaren, I think, timed that to perfection for the outside line that tends itself through that second corner. Can't quite get the grip down. Team and Marduk up to 6th.
And Karim, I think, may have had another dart down into turn 1, was just a 10th of a second off the back of Lolly on the run-up into turn 5. So continuing to try and knock 10 bells out of each other in the leaders as they are a considerable step above the group behind from a pace perspective. Vince still holding on, the pole sitter, remember, to that final spot on the podium, but he has got a big queue of cars looking and lining up to try and take it away with the second Italian in the Scarlet Ferrari car first on the scene.
Got a Safso up at P5 still. Fantastic race from him so far. And he's not far off the back of Ricky 3 and or Guy Vince for a podium position. Let's see what our native PS1 Hungary can try to get out of this today. He must not forget he's got Team and Marduk behind him. The rest of the train, of course, still in tow all the way back down to Infratica as well. But Safso currently running P5 at the moment, where he once started down in P8. He's made it 3 positions so far over 48 laps.
You see that little wobble there for Ricky coming out of the penultimate corner. That's what drivers need to be careful of. You need to protect the tyre temperatures, rear tyres in particular. It is a low grip circuit at times like this, and if you are just dangling, waggling the tail coming out of the traction zone, you're not going to be treating your car with the utmost respect. Ricky, good run out of turn 1, closing up to the back of the Merc, but not close enough to give us a second battle between Silver and Scarlet into the braking zone. Ben was pretty close to the back of his former teammate Safso as well into turn 1, but again, it's so difficult. We know you've got to be really punchy if you're going to make a dart down the inside. Saw it from Karim a couple of laps ago, saw it from Ben a couple of laps ago on Tukey as well. Alex Gillen hasn't actually managed to get past the McLaren yet, and actually has the other McLaren behind, just giving him something to think about, let's say, in this middle sector.
You're absolutely right. Everybody, I think, is starting to figure out where they stand in this race. It's turning into not a battery management race by any means, but it is certainly turning into let's try and focus ahead for the last 20 or so laps of this race. What preparations do I need to do in the next 2 to 5 laps to enable me to try and do the best in these last 20, the last 15 laps that we are going to have here at Hungary? Should we not see that safety car? They'll be thinking about fuel, they'll be thinking about battery. They'll have that opportunity under the safety car to charge some battery up, charge some fuel up, and save some fuel as well. But of course, it all comes down to this final sort of sprint era where Vince has caused this great stopgap all the way up to the front two that are over 5 seconds in front of anybody else.
It's just so difficult to get a run out of the final corner. Gillen dives down the inside of Tukey though, trying to pick the pocket of the lead McLaren driver, former 2-time champ, getting his elbows out, and I think he has. No, he hasn't got past the McLaren, and now Tukey is second off the back of Ben. Needs to work away at that gap in the middle sector. Ben gets so close to Safso through the penultimate corner, but then can't carry the speed into the last corner. Battle for the final spot inside the top 10. Bridgos, Polina around the outside of Matt 2-on-2, who still has to pit again in this race. Matt 2-on-2 started on the hard tyres, switched to his second set of hard tyres under the safety car. I question the strategy, considering we've only seen one safety car in the last 100 laps of Creator Series racing. Let's not beat around the bush.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to be a tale of two cities for many of our drivers. Of course, Vince is going wrong. Still on for a podium here. Started from the hole in the first time in his Creator Series career. You can see Karim 17 well and truly locked in, trying to chase down Lolly Nova in front of them. Both these drivers have prestige and heritage in the F1 Creator Series. They round off turn 14 of the circuit to head on to lap 50. And with 20 laps to go, Tom, I think it's roughly about time we check in and see what's been going on potentially unmentioned on the broadcast. We'll wait for a second though. Here comes Karim 17 down the inside. Now the fight is well and truly on. That double dose of DRS down towards the second corner here. He'll try and swing it around the outside. Can Karim now try and take the fight to the Italian stallion? That inside line paying dividends though. But the Scarlet Red Ferrari still too wide as they go through turn 3 by the barest of margins. Both cars make it through in towards turn 4. Nose to tail once again. Karim 17 is not letting Lolly Nova go.
Unbelievable racing. That's the second time we've seen it. Second time Lonino been staunch in his defence of the lead of the race. Box office between the two drivers that are head and shoulders above everybody else so far in this race. Karim, if he keeps having goes at it, keeps having stabs at it, surely one of those blows is going to land and he will finally work his way back up into the lead. But this is epic stuff between these two. Have to throw your hat in the ring saying these two are in, well, probably two of the best drivers we've seen maybe in the history of the Creator Series. That's the pace differential and that's how good the racecraft has been for the pair of them as well.
Very much so, showing that at Hungary at the moment. It's going to be an interesting tale here. You can see how much Karim has recharged that battery, and I think he is prepared to go round for round here with the Italian stallion that leads this race. I think it's going to be a question, as you rightly said, of if not when he manages to make that move past. You can see the overspeed that he has down towards turn 1. Lolly Nova tries to go defensive. Karim thinks about the outside line. Are we looking for a switchback here from the Aston Martin? Nobody can't get the traction down. That little wobble from the lean green racing machine is going to be his weakness, his kryptonite at the moment. He has to be patient. He has to try and let that throttle come to the floor naturally, not kick the rear out, because all he's going to do is lose time here. But Karim 17, he's going to eye up his suspect again, maybe charge some battery again through the course of this lap, use the DRS to aid him, and just wait for that moment, because all he's got to wait for now, Tom, and I'm very, very confident in saying this, he's just got to wait for a mistake from Lolly Nova. How very rare they come, but he's got to wait for it.
100%. I think we're also just seeing a little bit of disparity in wing setup as well. You can see Karim struggles through the middle sector. That's down to dirty air. I think he is just running maybe a couple of clicks down on wing level, rear wing level in particular, compared to Lolly. You can see the closing speed that he has. Yes, he's got DRS, slipstream, ERS, all of that malarkey. But he's 7.5. He's nearly 3/4 of a second pretty much coming out of the final corner. That is a big, big closing speed differential.
You're absolutely right. Lolly Nova, the Italian Minister of Defence here in Hungary at the moment, are certainly starting to step up into that official position. Karim 17 now rounds the final corner by the barest of margins, holding on to that DRS range. You saw that gap over 1 second, but just close enough within it as they headed through the detection marker, the entry to turn 14. We have probably a couple of laps until Karim 17 is going to be close enough to go for one final attempt, but let's move over now to Clipbook Carl.
Well, Team Marnock just tried the same thing. Bloody hell.
We got an Alpine in the wall, Carl. My
Gillen's
apologies.
Gosh, carry on, sorry.
We saw it coming side by side with Tim and Marnock through the first corner. There was a little bit of contact, I believe, with Alex Gillen, and you just saw him spinning around in the background. That is a considerable amount of wing damage there, Tom.
Yeah, saw that Ben was deep into turn 1. I think he was battling away with Safso. Alex Gillen tried the up and under potentially to try and get to the outside of 3. There was the contact, another bit of contact. So often entwined, aren't they, in their Creator Series legacies, Tim Marnock and Alex Gillen. And this time, the Alpine driver coming up second best in that altercation. And you're looking at him now thinking, points, that might be a bit of a long shot. Got to get that wing replaced.
Absolutely. Should we try that for a third time, Carl? Should we? Do you need a moment to go and find that clip from Gillen first?
Yeah, give me a moment on the Gillen front. Do you know what? Whilst I'm doing that, I'll give you some pit lane talk while I'm here. I alluded to the fact, in fact, all of us have alluded to the fact that Karim is so confident on the brakes. He only needs like half a second behind. You've seen how confident he is into turn number 1. Lolly's privy to it now as well, but here he goes. Oh my God, Tom, back to you.
Absolutely down the inside, Karim 17. Lolly tried to hold that inside line. The Aston Martin said, no, you will make way for me. And now tries the outside line into turn 2 again. Karim 17 sending a barrage of attacks Lolly Nova's way in towards turn 3 side by side. And it's just every single time that section of corners, he can't quite keep up, can he, Tom?
Embodying the spirit of Danny Rick here. This is unbelievable diving and confidence under braking. Maybe, though, needs to change tack here. That's 3 times he's tried the late dart to the inside of turn 1. Lolly has had the inside of turn 3, crucially, on every single occasion and held position.
More yellow flags. Tukey, I think, has gone around to the exit of turn 4. An easy one for drivers just to drop it. There we go. That McLaren car on the grass and the gravel on the entry to turn 5. And I'm almost certain it's so easy just to dislodge a car as you head through that little kink of turn 4. The left-hander that is taken at such a great speed. I don't quite know how he's managed to... Well, there we go. You can see the damage on that McLaren. Front left of the front wing completely ripped off from Tuki. He was running off in P7, P8 at the moment and drops down the order. Will have to make a visit into pit road.
Great result thrown in the bin, and that's hugely unfortunate. After starting P17, to work your way up to P6, strategy and with some really strong pace around a circuit like this, that is going to be disappointing. Kareem Ken was close into turn 1, but I don't think he sent it down the inside on this occasion. But that battle royale, you can bet your bottom dollar, is going to continue from now until lap 70.
Yeah, I think he's going to take another opportunity, another tour around this circuit just to get himself accustomed, get some more battery maybe. But surely he must be listening to the chat, understanding that every single time he's attempted this move, it is going to be that second corner that he's lost out from. It's the inside line that's paid dividends time and time again, because the inside can carry a lot of speed through. The outside has to try and kind of shave speed off, essentially, to be able to hold it in such a same disregard. But 0.4 of a second now through this second sector. Crim 17 just charging up, waiting for another opportunity to try and challenge the Scuderia Ferrari that leads this front. And the question is, how committed are you going to have to be, Tom, to send the move down? Do you maybe just, in very similar to what we see in IRL F1, send it down the inside all the way to the exit of the circuit and basically command as much space as you can?
It's difficult to think that he can be even more committed under braking, but maybe that is the strat. And we have to think about turn 3 as well. Yes, it's flat out, but Creed's been on the inside through 3 every time. There is a bit of a pinch point at the apex there, and you are slightly compromised to run through 3 and then up into turn 4. So that is playing into Lolinoba's hand as well. Here we go, Darsk all over the place. Lolly late move to the inside, ducking, weaving all over the rear wing of the Ferrari. Kareem once again finds the inside. Does he have the overlap? Not quite. Tries to plant the throttle out of 1, but just a little bit of wheel spin and oversteer. Does it give him the chance to send it to the inside of 3, though? Bit of contact as he taps the back of the Ferrari. Tried it down the inside for the first time into 3. Wasn't quite as committed, wasn't quite as far alongside. And that is the first attempt at the alternate way of getting past, and it hasn't quite been as successful.
We haven't, absolutely. Let's throw over to Clipper Carl. Third time's a charm, eh, Carl?
Bloody hell. Well, here we are. I'm going to make this quite brief and only show you this clip from Alex Gillen because, my God, we're going 12 rounds at it now, aren't we? Well, it's been a rocky road for our 2-time champion. It's not been the fairy tale he might have hoped for, because through turn number 1, Ben with the ungodly send. We've seen many Danny Rick dive bombs. That one takes the cake and then some, but it's on the exit. Alex makes slight contact with the side pod, but he just, I think it's pulling on the overtake button slightly too soon. He has to change his trajectory, slightly turn on the exit. Nothing he can do to stop the rears from spinning him into the barrier. My quick question, though, is to Karim. Why not send it more into turn number 1? Yes, Lolly's now throwing the defensive shapes. He's been alongside every single time. I think he needs to clear him so he can guarantee that inside line for the left-hander that's next.
I think you're absolutely right, Carl, and here we go, round 12 of whatever this battle has been so far. I think Karim's just taking a breather, waiting for an opportunity, waiting for the battery, but you can see just the acute angle that he takes through turn 1 there. He doesn't open up the corner, I think, as much as he potentially could do, very similar to what Carl was suggesting, that he just needs to clear the Italian, make the commanding room of that space of that corner, and once he has that, this could be an opportunity for Karim to run away.
100%. This is quite the bout, though, isn't it? This feels like the heavyweight battle between these two drivers. I mean, 9-ounce gloves would be not enough to stop the blows here. Kareem consistently bang, bang, bang down the inside. Lolly's taking all the punches. Feels like he's been on the ropes for the last 20 laps as Gillen pumps in the fastest lap of the race, albeit down in 17th with that front wing damage he had to fix. But we're getting to the point. We've got 15 laps to go now. Is Kareem going to be able to change tack? Has Lolly got him covered? Has he now got the confidence that he's done it 4 times now into turn 1 and turn 3 and not managed to get that move stuck? Has Lolly now just thinking psychologically, okay, I think I've got him here. Yes, he can keep going for it, but if I just play my cards right, I've got this control.
I think you're absolutely right, and something I think that was very much shared in the Twitch and the YouTube chat as well, that yes, Karim's going for a very brazen attack, but let's give Lolinoba some commendations here, some fantastic defending we're seeing from the Italian that leads this Grand Prix, not letting it disperse him as Karim 17 just too far back on this occasion to go for a movement towards the first corner. We do see, though, Timo Modic getting the better of Sasso. No Danny Ricciardo dives needed this time around, and he does get the car slowed and stopped down for turn number 1, up to 5th place on the back of Riccio 3, and just a reminder of how the tyres are looking up and down this field. Map 2-on-2 on the newest medium tyres, alongside Alex Gillen after having to pit after that slight inconvenient meeting with Barrier.
Interested to see how much progress Gillen will be able to make. He's going to be so much quicker on those medium tyres in the back end of this race as Razin gets up into P11. Was the championship leader going into this, hasn't had a particularly good Hungarian Grand Prix. Look at the overspeed and the overlap and the grip differential that Gillen has got for the two-time champion to ease his way past up into 16th. No points as yet for the Alpine, but with some penalties in front and a big pace differential, that could be an opportunity for him.
Absolutely good. You see Alex Gillen there just battling with Matt 2-on-2, Karim 7T on the back of Lolly Noba. Still, we are hearing some reports that there is minor wing damage on that Aston Martin. We have sent Karl Paranik off to investigate and give us some information and just see what he can fetch off for us. We can see how far Karim has fallen off the back of Lolly Noba with just over 12 or so laps to go here in this Hungarian Grand Prix. Can Lolly Noba try and secure his first victory of the season?
Unfortunately, I fear that could be the end of what has been one of the best battles we've ever seen in the Creator Series. Can Ricky try and embody the spirit of Ricciardo and Kareem 70? How to think about it, we'll look to the inside. We've seen Vince has been a little bit suspect maybe into the braking zone. He has got a little bit of a car moving around in his peripheral vision. We saw it in Saudi Arabia, the contact between himself and the Pratic at the end of the penultimate lap. That was realistically caused by Ben being right underneath the rear of the Mercedes. Vince was thinking about the Red Bull behind rather than the McLaren in front, and that was what induced the mistake. So that's maybe something to keep a watchful eye on as well.
Certainly is indeed. We see Vince here still in that podium position, still holding on. We haven't seen many major dives from anybody further afield at the moment, and we got some news back from Mr. Paranik. Game saying the car is okay, maybe ever so slight damage for Karim. The main focus, the focus is mainly lacking at the moment. So this could be interesting that it is a focus thing. We note that those mental aspects of these long races, Tom, but it is one that when you get to, say, the last 10 laps or so, you have to be in such a mind state to be able to go 10 rounds with some fantastic drivers.
It's underappreciated in motorsport how much the psychological battle it is as well. You've got to be so committed. We've seen it from Kareem there. The only chances that he's had to try and take the lead away from Lolly is when he's been so committed down the inside, making dive bombs that the likes of which the world hasn't seen. He thinks it's GG's, which would be unfortunate, but you have to commend Lolly Noba because he has been the bulletproof driver so far. Absolute granite, rock solid in the lead of the race. He's had punches being thrown from all angles from Kareem, but he's repelled every single one of them successfully and, more importantly, cleanly as well. And I think if he does win this race with just over 10 to go, he's fully deserving of it.
He absolutely is. It's been one of those fantastic races so far, and he's defended well when it's mattered most. You can see Karim starting to make slight inroads as they made their way through that second sector, but I don't think unless we see somewhat of a miracle, we are going to expect to see that sort of element drag himself back in. We are approaching lap 60, of course, and that does mark the intentional safety car removal, although we have not seen that this season, which is a pleasant sight for sore eyes. Please don't jinx it here. Oh, no.
Virtual safety car. Bert Meilander not yet coming out of the pits as Brandon Marl has his front wing splattered all over the circuit. That should bring Alex Gillen into the points-paying positions. It is just the virtual safety car. Somewhat frustratingly, maybe, would have given Kareem the opportunity to change that front wing if there was the damage there and maybe give us a continuation of that box office battle that we saw. But we are going to get things neutralised for at least the next 30 seconds maybe. And an opportunity perhaps for Kareem, if it is a psychological thing, just to try and get his thoughts back in check.
I think you're absolutely right. That moment of just let's take a pause, let's take a breather, let's understand where things might not have gone right, and then we can put them slightly better together as we go. Brandon Miles gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under virtual safety car. Of course, the driver that caused the virtual safety car with that damage for a wing exiting out of turn one. We see here Daco Vince immediately under pressure from Ricky 03, who looks to go around the outside. Timo Mardik also in the mix as well on the run down towards turn two. Now, little scuffle from Timo Mardik, couldn't quite get the traction down. Ricky 03 looks to the inside, but doesn't quite want to try and send it on this occasion. The patient game is playing again and again and again, but look at the exit he's gone out of turn three on the run up to turn four. This is not a place you want to go side by side. Dakovic knows that. The better angle through that little kink on the left-hander. Dakovic holds on to the podium for now.
You'll be a brave man, won't you, to hang it around the outside of turn four. I think Ricky thinking there about lap 70 rather than lap 60 here. Opportunity for Timo Mardik as well. And you kind of feel like if we look at the championship, Lolly Noba and Kareem 70 finishing first and second, whatever order, it doesn't matter. Raz has had a bit of a stinker today. There is a chance for Ben, if he can't get up into third, just to keep his name very much in the headlights in this championship scrap. Fourth and fourth so far this season. Yes, the consistency has been very strong, and he's come through a lot of adversity, in particular this evening, with the wing damage, unfortunately picked up on the formation lap. You feel if he can get up into third place, that'll be a really good confidence boost for him.
You're absolutely right. I think I can't remember. Is that Carl on Twitter? Count on Twitter, the name. Has gone from bad to worse for Brandon Miles here this afternoon. And it's just one of those unfortunate games in league racing, isn't it? As they make their way through down towards turn 1. Team Robotic still in the back of Ricky 03. I think this is going to be a battle we might see on the very last lap stop. It's going to be one that neither Team Robotic or Ricky want to send a move yet, because they know that they'll then be under pressure come lap, 70, 71?
100%. And there are a little bit of afters as well between Ricky and Ben. Remember back to Saudi Arabia, drag race out of the last corner up to the line. So maybe a bit of unfinished business for the Australian A's. Just looking at Alex Gillen down in 15th, there's a chance that he could still finish 11th in this race, which would be an unbelievable achievement. But Matt 212 still has to pit. 2 sets of hard compound tyres that Matt 212 is used. No, he hasn't. He's actually boxed. I didn't see that. On the medium tyres now. So scratch that 12th place for Alex Gillen. Great strategy to work actually for Matt 212. He's got himself back into the position that he was occupying. But Gillen's about 3.5 seconds a lap faster than all of them in that little group from Razin down to Super Noodle Bagel. And he's not that far away either.
Yeah, it's interesting that Matt 212 has gone for that strategy and boxed onto mediums right at the end. Of course, it makes sense. He'll be the quickest that the car is going to be on a low fuel mode, and just over 9 laps to go. And we cross that start-finish line to start onto lap 72, which Criminally Nova does just as we say that. It's going to be the fastest tyres to be on, bar the soft tyres, but obviously they burn up rather quickly here at the Hungarian ring. And this could be a good play for Matt to score some good points here this afternoon. We still see the battle between Vince and Ricky is trying to hot up as Tim Mardick comes across the team radio. This is going to be a hard-fought podium, and I agree. But I'm just going to go into the psychological analysis here, Tom. I think he feels that the podium could be on for himself.
100%. As grid jokes down the inside of Fabio into turn 1, taking 7th place off the hands of the McLaren. At one stage, McLaren looking so strong, but that little bit of a whoopsie from Tukey. Now Fabio under pressure, but sends it back down the inside of 3. I don't think grid joke saw that one coming. Late lunge to get 7th place back into his grasp, and that was efficient there from Fabio. Keeps himself in the game for the time being. Yes, they're 9 seconds off the back of Safso, but this is an exclusive battle. Adam Sanderson, 9 further seconds back down the road.
Absolutely right. It's being told as well, Ben is hoping for Ricky to get Vince. That seems to be his key for unlocking a podium tonight, and I think you're absolutely right in sharing that sentiment. If those two battle, Team Robotic probably feels that opens up his opportunity to maybe just snipe a podium at the final time of asking. We're on lap 62 of 70, and now is the time I'm going to ask you, whether you're watching along on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, MySpace, wherever you're watching along, let us know in the live chat who you think is going to take this race win here tonight. Will it be Lolly Nova? Will Karim have a bit of resurgence? Who knows? Will Super Noodle Bagel come from 15th place in just 7 laps? Let us know who you think is going to take victory.
I mean, what a story that would be. That would be exciting, wouldn't it, if we see the almightiest of almighty comebacks. Don't discount Safso in this either. Got himself back inside the 1 second window. Vince doing a sterling job to hold on to this 3rd place. Yes, it's difficult to overtake, but he's been under stern examination. As again, we're knocking 10 bells out of each other. Fabio versus Grid Jokes round 2. Both of them jinking around on the braking into turn number 1, but it looks like this time Fabio has it covered down into turn number 3. It's Grid Jokes with helping out of the slipstream, but not close enough to try and shoot the Sauber down the inside to finally clutch 7th place to his chest and take it away from the McLaren.
Lots of people already in chat opting that Lolly Nova will win, and it's going to be an interesting one. Let us know who you think the podium might be, as we see Scotty Designs, by the way, and Alex Gillen scrapping it out in towards the first corner. The most unlikely of counterparts that we're seeing in Scotty Designs, not letting Gillen go. Both of them had DRS courtesy of Razin Chai just in front through turn 3. They go, and Scotty still running in 14th place with his best finish so far this season, scoring 2 points to his name. So heads with that little king to turn 4. He'll hope to try and maybe follow through Alex Gillen as he tries to get the better of Razin Chai, who hasn't had the best afternoon so far today. Of course, still rocking that wing damage from earlier.
Not good news. Gillen thought about it maybe down the inside into turn number 8. Doesn't want to lose too much time. He's about 2 seconds a lap faster than Adam Sanderson at the moment. Maybe a little bit less than that on the previous turn because of this traffic. There's a chance, penalty for Ryan on 83. He maybe could catch the Red Bull. Look at this, 1 Red Bull on the move though, down the inside of Ricky, finally trying to pick the pocket of the second Scarlet Ferrari car. Watch for Safso in the back of shot as well. Going to have to be the outside for 3. The inside has worked so well for Lonanova. Does it work to the same tune for Ricky 03? Yes, it does. Repels the assault from the former 2-time champ, who's still got his former teammate to deal with as well. Sasso, does he want it around the outside of turn 4? Fancied it, but for one moment. Ben making sure that wasn't going to happen. But that's the first time we've really seen Ben, since he got past Sasso, go for that dart to the inside.
Alex Gillen's dispatcher as in Jai as well in towards the first corner, using the DRS to get the better of the V-carb driver. Scottish Stein still just in tow behind, 9/10 of a second behind, but I think we are going to see what we saw the battle become between 1 and 2, Lolly Nova and Karim 17. Maybe just change its interference here, all the way down to maybe 4th at the moment, maybe in a couple of laps up towards 3rd, and Vince is getting involved. But look at the gap between Ricky 03 and that guy Vince. It's teetering over that 1 second mark. It's playing hopscotch with that line, isn't it?
And that's not necessarily bad news for Ben either, because if he can use the DRS to try and dispatch the Ferrari, that'll get himself right back into the ballpark and give him an opportunity to have a free hit at that guy Vince. We can't quite see what's going on there, but now we can. Does the Ferrari have DRS? No. I don't think Ben's close enough. Do we try the dive into one? No, we don't on this occasion.
Yeah, it looks like game issues for everyone, including our producer here this afternoon, which is unfortunate to say the least. But we have got a backup feed. This is why we love Gareth. He's a man with many, many plans in his pocket. Ricky 03 still on the back of that guy Vince. We see him frantic and grid chokes once again going tete-a-tete as they head through turn 1 in towards turn 2. That V-carb, sorry, kick Sauber still on the back of the McLaren. Ricky 03 just ever so slightly hanging onto the coattails of that guy Vince. Tim and Martin just on the back of Ricky 03 as well.
That's 16.9 from Alex Gillen. That is serious pace. I was questioning, could he catch Adam Sanderson and Ryan 83 on that pace? He's going to give Matt 212 a run for his money as well. So could he be 9th place for Gillen, which would be incredible damage limitation if he can pull it off. Tall order, but still a very, very reasonable outcome if he continues at this slick of speed.
Certainly is indeed. In towards turn 12, 13 and 14 to round off lap 65. We have got Alex Gillen coming over the team radio. I think we can still get a top 10 here. Brazen for the man down in 12th place as they run through turn 14 as well. And it is at the moment Ricky 03 still in the back of that guy Vince, still holding on to that coattails of that guy Vince. He's going to be running on hopes and dreams at the moment.
Ben to the inside though, spotted opportunity, all crossed up, all locked up. Bit of a shoulder barge off the road as Ricky lights up the rear tyres in the runoff area. Tim Martin with a bump and run goes through. Safso lights up the rear tyres as well. He's attempted to try and get 5th place from the ailing Ferrari car. Ben goes through, lost a decent chunk of time in the process. An interesting one there. I don't think Ricky will necessarily be too enamoured by it.
I don't think he will be, but Tim and Monica now 2 seconds off the back of that guy Vince. This battling has absolutely hurt themselves there, unless Tim and Monica can find maybe a 9th gear in that Red Bull racing car. Who knows? It's maybe a newy design. Maybe they've got one just hiding in and around the gearbox just to plug in if and when it needs. But they make their way through that second sector through 8, 9, 10 and 11. And Tim and Monica already starting to make inroads on that guy Vince in front. Of course, our pole sitter, our pole starter for the very first time in his career still has an opportunity to get a podium here this afternoon. We're on lap 66 of 70, folks. We have got just 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix.
With that little bit of contact and that little bit of combat, that has gift-wrapped that Vince realistically this 3rd place. All it's got to do now is open it, which is easier said than done, but he's got a 2.5 second buffer to the Red Bull, to the Ferrari and to the RB behind him. So an interesting one there for Vince. Just got to try and keep his cool. They're going to go at it once again, and Tim Mullet's not going to put up any fight there as Ricky back down the inside with a helping hand. DRS doesn't even need the braking zone and reclaims 4th for the wags the tail, wags the back of that Ferrari in the face of Ben coming out of turn number 1. Got the DRS as well coming into turn 3. So no opportunity for a reassault into turn 3 for the Formula 2 time chance. And we are, as we were, albeit 2 seconds now, off the back of Vince. There's maybe some games here. Can the DRS share back up to Vince? I don't necessarily think they've got the time left.
I think you're absolutely right. The damage, I think, has already been done. The prophecy has been written in the scriptures. They've damaged their reputation too much. They've fallen off the back too far because that guy Vince now has clean air in front of him. You can see it, 9.4 seconds up to Karim 17, who in his own right is well off the back of Lolly Nova, 2.8 seconds now. I think any hopes, prayers and miracles they were hoping for that safety car to come just haven't come right at the end. So we have got, 3 laps of racing when they cross the line next time around. And it is going to be a mission, shall we say, for Team Robotics Sasso Ricky to catch back up. I think our podium, unless we see any unforeseen circumstances, could be fairly locked in here.
I remember Alex Gillen from a few laps ago saying top 10's a possibility. Just 2 seconds now off the back of Adam Sanderson. A second and a half off the back of Matt 2-on-2. Getting the Merc at this stage will be difficult, but he's still about 3 seconds a lap faster than Sanderson. If he can recover to 10th place, Gillen, that is a very, very commendable effort. This time, it's the outside of turn 1 for Tim. A little bit different as Ricky throws some defensive shape. Again, struggling for traction out of 1, but the DRS again will give the white ball the opportunity. Into turn number 3. Got the inside line this time. Brave under brace, bit of contact. Front left tyre to side pod. And this time Ben muscles his way through without too much contact and too much damage done on this occasion.
I think right there is a trademark Tia McMardock move. You've got a Haas stop to the exit of turn 5. Either Faithful or Super Noodle Bagel. We'll wait to try and figure out which one that is. I have assumptions that it might be Faithful HC down. Excuse me, in 17th place here. Tia McMardock, though, regains 4th, looking to try and pull through his fourth place finish of his career, of his championship so far here in season 12. Finished 4th last week, finished 4th in round 1 as well, so maybe trying to keep it consistent if nothing else.
Yeah, usually it's 3, but for Team World 4 happens to be the magic number here in Season 12 of the Creator Series. Cream's attack is definitely called, I mean, at this stage, hoping for some divine intervention. I think the best way to put it is 5 seconds off the back of Lolly. Have to commend both of them, though. Incredible battling we saw between the pair of them. Yes, Cream picked up that little bit of damage, but the battling we did get, that was the definition of box office. Some of the best we've ever seen in the Creator Series. Alex Gillen, though, despite picking up that damage, a little bit of contact between himself and Tim McMardock, I don't necessarily think that was the cause of the incident, as Carl showed us earlier. To recover to P9, that is some slog from the two-time champ.
Certainly is indeed. Looks to move here on Matt 2-on-2 as they round turn 14. The graphic on the screen, as we alluded to earlier, for the first time since season 8, Alex Gillen failing to score in the opening 2 rounds of the season. We'll ignore that he's been on his honeymoon, but that is textbook Alex Gillen. Looks to the inside, outside, turns itself round the outside of turn 1. He will go. Matt 2-on-2 has to try and be up on the traction and the run down towards turn 2, the inside line, proving so effective time and time again. Alex Gillen, though, paying the result, but Matt 2-on-2 finding that outside line pace that everybody else has been lacking so far this Grand Prix. Matt 2-on-2 surely has got a thing or two to teach everybody else.
Well, daggers there on the elbows of Matt 2-on-2 there. There was a bit of a bump and run down the straight. They just met in the middle almost, and they did bang tyres going down the straight. Going to be bruised, those elbows, with the amount he was getting them out to keep Alex Gillen at bay, at least for this lap. That might be the crucial one. Gillen, can he stay that close throughout the remainder of this lap and keep himself right on the haunches of Matt 2-on-2 to nab 9th place and do what he didn't do at the end, or the start, I should say, of 69, at the start of 70?
Absolutely. Let's see if Ricky at 3 goes for a dive. It's not much of a dive, actually. That DRS overspeed down the inside locks up, though. Tia McMardock says, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, as he goes round. And the cutback, absolutely textbook Tia McMardock there. Safso has an opportunity maybe to try and capitalise on Ricky 03. Gillen across the team radio. Let's do a bigger move on him next time. And I think, as you're right, down in 10th place, has an opportunity to try and challenge Matt 2-on-2 this time around. I think we're going to see something very similar. Holds that inside line. Now switches to the outside. Round the outside he goes for the second lap in a row of turn 1. Matt 2-on-2 pushes him to the extremities of the circuit. The opportunity will go to the second corner once again, but this time around Alex Gillen goes deep. Matt 2-on-2 with the textbook switchback. That is fantastic. They go to abreast through turn 3. Little bit of contact between the two of them. Matt tries to push Alex all the way to the outside of the circuit, but Alex Gillen says no, holds on to P9, but the focus comes back towards the top. Lolly Nova, who's driven an absolutely outstanding race this afternoon, he wins in Hungary.
Path them over the line. Same with the Aston Martin that's coming too. They've put on quite the show, haven't they, this evening? That guy Vince, pole sitter, does hold on to 3rd place. Ricky had the chance to get 4th there on the last lap. Completely missed his braking point. Locked up into turn 1. Handed it back to Ben, who makes it a hat-trick of 4th places. Good result for Safso in P6 as Infratic is going to hold off Grid Jokes. Alex Gillen and Matt 2-on-2. Matt 2-on-2 has been a little bit of the punching bag in Alex Gillen's clipbook streams, haven't you seen in the past?
You're absolutely right. We've still got more coming across the line. Matt 2-on-2, I think, will just finish behind Gillen, who finishes 9th on his return from his honeymoon. It will be points that he's plenty for scoring. Sanderson finishes 11th. Ryan L83 on his birthday finishes in 12th place, with Scotty Designs, by the way, coming home in lucky 13th. Razan Chai will score 2 points to his name after a damage limitation race with Super Noodle Bagel, who will finish, I believe, in 15th place and score points for the very first time in his Creator Series appearance here in Season 12. And Tom, that is points for Super Noodle Bagel.
It is indeed last points playing position. Terrible race for the Season 5 champion and the championship leader coming into this. Razin first in round 1, second in round 2, 14th at the Hungarian. Hasn't served him particularly well.
Absolutely not. Lonnie Nova then doing his cool-down lap as he makes his way back to pit road. A victory that he will take home this afternoon. He finished second in round 1, gained 14 points in round 2 last time out in Spa. This time, though, he will go home with the full hog of 25 points to his name, and it could not have been a better race. It was the 2-stop strategy all round for most drivers, sub-opted even for the 3-stop here in the end, Tom, with that safety car interference.
It did. It made for quite an interesting race, didn't it? We had the battle out front. We had the battle for the final spot on the podium. Things got spicy at times. We had people charging through in the latter stages as well. Great end battle as well between Gillen and Matt 2-on-2. And considering Hungary, we've said it a number of times, has a reputation for being Monaco without the barriers, can be a bit of a snooze fest at times. I think it delivered pretty well. Look at those awards, by the way, for Gillen. Fastest lap driver of the day, most overtakes, cleanest driver.
And race winner Lonnie Nova. We've got 25 seconds. Let's go through the classification. One driver a second, everybody. We're down to the wire. Lonnie Nova, Karim, Danko, Vince, Timo Marek, Ricky 03, Safso, Infratic, Grid Jokes, Alex Gillen, Matt 2-on-2. Round out your top 10 of the order with Adam Sampson, Ryan L83, Scotty Designs, by the way, Rising Chai, Super Noodle, Bagel, Tukey, Brandon Miles, and Faithful as your top 18 with the DNFs from Concept 7 and Chappers F1. I've got 2 seconds, so back to you in the studio.
All right. Let's go, we're back, Carl. Mate, wasn't that just banging? Okay, that was a slow burner to start off, let's all be honest. But see, after that first safety car, it just came alive. We had the front battle with Karim and Lolly, which was just great. We had a bit of chaos, obviously, with Ben and Gillen. That kind of happened. Honestly, the comm guys, Tom, TK, you've done absolutely incredible. One thing I want to talk to you, Carl, before you might have some clips or go into a bit more with us, is did it feel like the DRS on the straight just wasn't enough? It felt like everyone, like Vince was able to stay in the lead of that train for how many laps?
For a decent amount, to be fair to you. I mean, it all comes down to how much they're willing to have it, I guess. I mean, we saw with Karim, complete contrast. I mean, yes, maybe it's for different stipulations in terms of the race, P1 versus P3, but regardless, you want all the points you can get. Karim showed no signs of losing the bravery and the boldness until he got, I will now correct myself, he got the tiniest bit of damage on the front right. So, extremely unfortunate, but when you're knocking 10 bells out of each other, lap after lap after lap, it's bound to happen eventually. In contrast, Ricky, I thought, was really passive behind Vince, so it all comes down, I think, to just the psychological aspect. How much do you really want it?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, because, yeah, we've definitely seen that. Like, Vince, I got to say, I'm so happy he got to keep that podium. As much as, you know, Ben and all they wanted it, I just feel like he got pole, he was able to stay there. Karim and Lolly were just in a completely different league, though, let's be honest. Let's go, before we get into interviews and stuff like that, let's jump to you, Carl. I think you've got some clips for us, am I right?
I do indeed. So, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, bear with, my blood pressure's nearly overflowing, so bear with me. But, lap number 70, it all kind of kicked off all over again. Like Scott said, slow burner until that safety car came about. And then we got things like this. Ben versus Ricky on the final lap. Of course, there is added context. Ben did do a rather dastardly dive bomb to Ricky on lap 66, which I will show you in a minute. But after that, Ricky, I think, had a little bit of a point to prove and a score to settle. So he too throwed the shape down the inside. I thought he was a bit too overcommitted here in all the contrast after all the conversation I've had about Ricky. He already was alongside enough, so he just needed to be a little bit more conservative on the brakes. An easy switch back, and, well, I mean, if you can do lip reading, you know exactly what Ben said. All I can say is he was a very happy bunny. Then we had this battle here. Matt 2-on-2, I thought, did an absolutely delightful defense on the penultimate lap of the race. Come lap number 70, though, it was now or never for Alex Gillen. It was a rapturous recovery, and it was all the cherry on top with this move here. So goes for the outside line, holds it all the way around. Matt pushes him as much as he can to the outside curb. Maybe could have done a bit more, but regardless, side by side, gives him the big old squeeze towards turn 3. And in contrast, he goes for that big move into turn number 3. So Alex learning from last time, but Matt also calls his bluff, goes for the switchback. This is where it gets spicy, though. Through the right-hander they go. And Matt, well, I think partially contact model, but then there's the squeeze across as well. Alex, well, probably feels like he's been thrown a massive lifeline as a result of that. But my goodness me, What battles up and down the field, all the way through to the last lap. We might not have done Hungary in Season X, but here we are in Season 12, and Hungary's delivered the goods, I would say.
Yeah, that was absolutely banging. Like, I'm just saying, yes, it was slow before the first safety car, but then it just came alive. I was like transfixed on the race, absolutely loving the fact that we had battles all throughout as well. I'm just quite excited for the equal cars. It seems to be doing well so far. Everyone seems to be driving quite well. But yeah, do you know what? I think it's time, Carl. I think we're going to talk to our first interviewee. And do you know what? Who it's going to be? It's going to be Mr. Dat Guy Vince. Vince! Mate!
Hello.
You got a pole! Like, what
I don't
happened?
know.
That's amazing!
I don't know where it came from. It was out of nowhere. I did a few laps, I was just saying to Ben, I did a few laps before the race, and I did a 14.9. I was like, yeah, that'll be enough for a top 5, top 6, and then I don't know, it all just merged together out of nowhere. So, you know, it's one for the record books after what happened in Japan a couple of seasons ago where I got robbed of my pole. It's a bit of redemption for that.
Still remember that one, yeah? Mate,
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong, we all know you're fast, right? I felt like we were looking at the wrong way at that moment, and you just came out of nowhere, and it was a great time. And that's one impressive thing, right? Put that to the side for a second. Obviously, when the race came, it seemed to be kind of Lolly and Kareem had this weird, just insane race pace, and
ridiculous.
you were fighting that kind of right, and you were fighting for that kind of third, but you were the head of that train for what? How long? And you got the podium. Like, that's impressive in itself.
Yeah, I knew coming out that final corner, if I had a 5.5, 6/10 gap, there was very, very little chance Ricky would be able to go for the move, unless it was like a big send like Ben did, but you know, we said that quietly. But yeah, I knew if I had that gap, there was no chance to get by, so I just made sure that coming through those final few corners, I kept the gap, you know, steady at that 5.5, 6/10 mark, and it worked every single time. And that's Hungary in a nutshell, you know, it's known for its qualifying track. I knew when I got pole position, we could fight for a podium at least. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. So the plan worked to a charm, really.
Mate, I love it. I was champion you the entire race. Just lovely to see you up there. You feeling good? New season, equal cars. You feeling like this could be potentially your year, right? You showed amazing pace today.
Yeah, I've had it a few times. People saying, you know, could there be a championship charge? I'm like, I mean, if Karim and Lolly are doing that week in, week out, then I'm just gonna wait another day, I think. But yeah, I mean, the first couple of races of the season didn't start great, getting 2 P8s and obviously a couple of not so nice moves. So to come back and get a podium on the first race back, yeah, it's not great.
Got for that,
But, yeah, to come back on the first race back and up those two and get a podium, yeah, it's good. So we'll try and continue it.
So would you? I mean, it's always hard to know, right? Ifs and buts. But like today, was that like pace, or do you think there was maybe a setup trick that you missed when it came to the race?
Honestly, I have no idea really. Like it was one of those days where you just feel good, everything comes together, and it all works out for you. I was a little bit like peeved with I think it was the second safety car, the first one, I think it was first safety car actually, which like kind of brought the pack together because me and Ricky had got a very nice gap behind, and we kind of knew we'd be fine together for a podium. So when that safety car came out, I was a bit concerned at first, but you know we put it all together in the end, and that's what matters most.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love watching you do all of your 100% racing. It's just lovely to see you up here in the top 3. Right, before you go, is there anything you want to say to your fans out there? They cheer your name and all the channels that we do it. They wanted Vince today. They got Vince. What have you got to say for them?
Yeah, well, big shout out to those guys. They were in my chat calling the strats and stuff like that. They were telling me how much battery people were on. They were like secret agent spies and stuff. So big up to all the people doing that sort of stuff and helping me get over the line. And yeah, next time we'll try and make it P1 instead of P3.
And when that happens, we cannot wait to talk to you in here, mate. Right, lovely to see you, speak to you again, Vince. Enjoy
Likewise, man. Have a
yourself.
good one. Thank you.
Nailed it, mate. Adios.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.
Bang, I love it. It's Vince, right? I just love to see you up there. Right, let's move on to our next interview, which I believe is with Mr. Kareem 7T. Okay, mate. Good race. What was that, like 10 laps or something that you gave us? You were half of the battle. Probably one of the best battles I remember in Creator Series. That was banging. Right, talk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, I tried my best to make it last longer, you know, put some spice and entertainment into that race because we know Hungary is so difficult to overtake. But yeah, it was so tough. I could barely read the chat. I could barely keep up with Lolly. He was so quick. Yeah, yeah, I knew I had to be aggressive just because I couldn't really get close enough to him. And just, yeah, the nature of the track, hard to overtake. So I went super aggressive. Fair play to Lolly for leaving the space, because there were a couple times that I sent it where I felt like he maybe could have turned in and it would have been fair. But yeah, fair play to him. I did slightly damage my wing in turn 2. And from that point, I couldn't get close, had no battery left. And it was GG's. But yeah, that was probably the main part of my race. And it was fun. It was fun. GG's to Lolly.
Mate, it was banging for us. We did have the question of, did you get a little bit damaged? Because obviously you were... Did you have lower wings, potentially, than Lolly? It felt like you were gaining the straights, but in that middle sector, you'd lose him a little. Is that fair to say?
I think he was just rapid. I had 50-50, so no margin for straight line speed there. I just burnt the whole battery and used the DRS, basically. Sector 3 was definitely my weak point. I kept losing a lot of time there. Lolly was quite strong there, and especially my exit was never really that great. I don't think I ever got a better exit than him. It was always even at best. But yeah, I think if I could have gotten a little bit closer in Sector 3 and then maybe set up a switchback or just been further alongside at turn 1 so that I can be ahead at the apex at turn 2, maybe I could have made the move, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. It was a good battle, and I enjoyed it.
I loved it. We absolutely loved it. It's nice to see you up here back with equal cars. Starting to feel like maybe there's something happening here. We're thinking, is it too early? Is it too early to give hope? But like, I'm liking what I'm seeing, mate.
Yeah, I mean, didn't start the season too great. I think I'm becoming quite well known for not having a good round 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always on the back foot, but we never give up. We keep pushing. It was only round 3, so you know, a lot of time still to go. But yeah, I'll give it my best to put on the best show possible.
Love it, mate. Love it. Right, anything you want to say to your fans out there? We've all been championing you. It was amazing. We didn't care who won this race. You and Lolly just gave us a banging entertainment, and that's kind of why we're here.
Yeah, not much to say really. Just GG's to Lolly. Much love to his community. They showed me a lot of love in the chat, even though we were having an aggressive battle. And yeah, I'm glad we can have clean, aggressive battles like that, and I hope for more in the future.
Love it. Boring. I want to see chaos and safety cars. But anyway, that's just me. Kareem, lovely to chat to you as always, mate. We'll see you next time, probably next week. Take care of yourself, mate.
Take care.
Alrighty. Okay, now we'll see if we've got anyone else for an interview in a second. I think we have a race leader, if I'm correct in saying. Again, Mr. Lolly Nova. Something just seems to be happening with you this season. We all know you're fast, but I'm starting to get a good feeling that you just seem to have a little bit extra in the bag. My friend, talk us through that race.
Yeah, ciao Scott. Hello.
Hello.
I don't know where this performance come out, to be honest. I was saying, no, okay, maybe I can fight for P8, but today, never mind, okay. That's good for the championship. That's good for the championship. I'm trying to win this year.
I can tell, right? You have a great chance. Obviously, we have fast drivers here, but you are brilliant. For 1 minute, can we just talk about, obviously you and Kareem had a battle throughout a lot of that race, but there was about maybe 10 laps where it was just constant. Every lap was just awesome for us to watch. Talk me through that. How much fun was that?
Yeah, maybe it's one of the most beautiful, not in creator, but in general for me, battle I have in this game, and clean battle. I don't know how I stay in front, to be honest, in T2. I just take every time the inside for defend to Mr. Karim, and was pretty fun, to be honest. Really pretty fun. I was saying why the engine don't go so much high in temperature with Karim, but that's okay for me. I just stay in front.
Love it. It was so great to watch, yeah, and it was, the word is clean, right? You and Kareem. Obviously, there was a few times in turn 1 where he absolutely sent it, but you left the space and you came out on top. Honestly, Lolly Nova, it was incredible for us at Creator Series. We don't see many battles that go that long without someone going off the track or into a wall or something like that, which we've seen later down the grid with, for instance, Alex, Gillen and Ben, as they usually do. But no, I've got a really good feeling, not just for the drivers, but for the constructors as well, because Ricky, he's not right up there with you, but he's not far behind. How much fun are you having now that we have the equal cars back?
Pretty fun. Really, really, really fun. So much fun. Yeah.
I've got one last question for you, Lolinova.
Yeah.
Have you ate your Terry's chocolate orange?
Not now. I have in the package.
Okay.
I can send the photo. I already sent the photo.
Okay, we're waiting for that photo. Photo. Just before you go, Lolinova, we have you. Your fan base is one of the loudest in the world. They're always loving you, always supporting you. We've had them in the chats as well, championing your name. If you get anything you want to say to them just before you head off.
Forza Ferrari. We're trying to win. Vamos!
I love that. Short and sweet as always. Lolly, I look forward to speaking to you more throughout the season. I've got a feeling you're going to be in this interview room quite a lot. Go have some fun. Well done, mate. Thank you so much for a great race, as always.
Thank you, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Vamos.
Ciao. Let's go to the driver's standings. Car, why don't you take us away, mate?
Sure thing. Absolutely will. Well, Lolinova, there's apparently, Ferrari's dominating in that proceeding, apparently. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The team comes first in Lolinova's case, but he's got 62 points. He's our leader by 14 points. Rasin Chai dropping the ball in Hungary is P2 now, but joint on points with Tiamat Marduk. Kareem 17, 2 podiums in 2 races. What a change that has made, up into P4 in an instant. Ricky 03 not far behind in P5 with Fabio in P6. That guy Vince in 7th with Safso, Grid Jokes and Concept 7 rounding out our top 10, Scott.
Yes, and GB in 11th place, drops down, was not in this race. Sanderson in 12th. We need to see a bit better than that. I'm sure you'll have some good races throughout the year. Matt 212 in 13th is a position. I don't think we'll see him in for too long. He is quite good and consistent. Ryan in 14th, Gillen in 15th. What a day for Gillen, right? Oh my god, imagine the excitement of him coming back after the first 2 rounds, being away and getting absolutely done in every single way possible. To gain 16th, Scotty Designs in 17th, Mr. Yora Van Evan in 18th with 4 points, Chappers and Super Noodle Bagel in 19th and 20th. All I can say, what a race. What a race. Didn't think it was going to be that good. Thought it was going to be rubbish. Knew it was Hungary. Was rubbish for 20 laps. Then it got banging, Carl, right?
Oh, it did. It absolutely did. Ferrari's now flown off, ladies and gentlemen. Lolinova doesn't drive for anyone. In fact, there it goes again. You're just watching it descend and ascend on this Drivers' Championship. Ferrari now sits head and shoulders above everybody else. What a day, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I completely concur. Hungary, wow, what a race. I thought loads of people were going to say, well, there's the reason why we went to Monza. No, we trusted in Hungary. We went to Budapest for a blitz, and we got one. Absolutely fantastic. Your driver's standings are now in order. That's absolutely fantastic. But now we look at the team standings, Scott. And you know what? You take away P1 to 5 on this case.
It is Ferrari. I'm just saying, Lolly and Ricky, they are so far looking like the team to be incredible. Seem to be always around the first to 5th place. Racing Bulls above Red Bull. Not often you see that. Aston Martin in 4th as well. And Mercedes in 5th with 47 points.
Indeed. The Papaya Pro's not far behind, though. Just 4 points behind in P6 with Alpine in P7. Williams in 8th. Sauber joint on points with 21. Haas, though, with only 5 points to their name so far this season.
Yeah, well, there you go. Haas in the bin. I can only say the truth, and is that I thoroughly enjoyed that race. I hope everyone watching around has had a banging time as well. It's been so cool to have us all. Tom Knight, Tom Wilkinson, we've been hearing you do commentating all night. Give us a little bit of just, did you have fun? That was good, right? We have fun here. That was Hungary. You guys probably would have been the least wanting Hungary to do 70 laps. How much better was that than you actually imagined?
To quote many of my school teachers, it exceeded expectations.
Yes. I think the best way to summarise it was Alex Gillen finished 9th, and he was absolutely over the moon with it. And I think that's the best way to look at it from the outside perspective. It was a really fun race, especially the second half. maybe the best battle we've ever had in the Creator Series. I mean, that's up for debate between Lolly and Kareem. I think, like TK said, massively exceeded expectations.
Yeah, 100%. Now, throughout the week, before next Saturday, you're going to be seeing all these amazing clips throughout our social media, through all of the channels. So please, throughout that week, like, follow, share, let the world know, because we have so much fun here at Creator Series. We get to see some of the best creators around in the F1 game.